I've been trying to let my voice heal a little bit, man. It's been pretty bad. I woke up with a sore throat, but it's part of covering the Phil story, I guess. The Phil saga. Jack to the Future. Apparently her account got nuked on Twitter, but it's back now. She's got a new account. I shouldn't say it's back. He got a new account, and it's Shack to the Future 7, I think, was the thing on it. I went back and forth like 3 times. I used to always refer to them as he, and then I did like she for like 3 months. I have no idea why. And then back to he. Everybody was saying she on Twitter last night, but he came up and corrected everybody. Yeah, the older millennial is probably the most debunked person I see on TikTok. They're just fucking lying, dude. I even debunked one of their videos when they're like, show us one video from the crowd in front of this plane. Okay, here you go. Then they don't have nothing to say. No retractions, never go back, never correct anything. Just fucking lie, dude. Either, well, I'll tell you in a minute. The music's over.
Never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves. We won't let the world burn away. Burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake it through the back of the pack. Kill it anyway. To blame. Haters face the world's mistakes. Wake it through the back of the pack. Kill it anyway.
What's up, everybody? What's up? The Phil show went over well. $800 views on YouTube. That's not bad. In 24 hours. Most people believe it didn't. I'll explain in a minute.
We were raised to lose the race. Wake it through the back of the pack. Kill it anyway. To blame. Haters face the world's mistakes. Wake it through the back of the pack. Kill it anyway.
That was pretty good timing on the timer there. That wasn't bad. There we go.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals.
Twitch is
with
always
Will
better,
Burr.
but it's up to you.
I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show, and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindeland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is the Cold Break Confessional. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back, guys. I appreciate it. So last night was the Phil case summary, and that video went over well. Oh, sorry. I was reading something. But here's a couple things it doesn't mean. So, one, a lot of times laymen use the word, and I did it. That's why I'm saying I'm the layman. I'm not a lawyer. Use the word dismissal, the same as a summary judgment. A dismissal would be that the judge ruled that there was something wrong with like the merit, the filing, the substance of the case that's brought forth. A summary judgment is like all that stuff was fine, all the filing was fine, all the procedure was met, but he looks at all the evidence and says, hey, there isn't a case here. So we shouldn't be using summary judgment and dismissal interchangeably, because a summary judgment's an actual ruling. If it was just dismissed, it would just be case dismissed. But the judge in the motion told the clerk of the court to file this as a win for the Scranton Times. So it's actually more than a dismissal, right? It's almost the same as if a jury heard the case and ruled on it the same way, but the judge did it himself before laying all this out for weeks and weeks and weeks. He basically took a summary of the case and made a judgment, a summary judgment. And I'm not actually sure. So when I received this document, I emailed back and said, I know that it was filed for, when you filed your motion, you asked for summary judgment with prejudice. And that's true. You can go read the motion. But in this, it doesn't say with or without prejudice in the actual ruling. And they emailed me back and said the ruling was with prejudice, just like we asked. So I'm not 100% sure that a summary judgment would be the same as it going to a jury. It's just the judge decided it at the start of the case rather than hearing the whole case. So I'm not even sure if you can have a summary judgment without prejudice. Still not super clear on that. But either way, when I emailed the guy and asked, this was with prejudice, right? He emailed back with prejudice. So maybe he was just breaking it down for me because he knows I'm an idiot. And he's like, yeah, that's implied because it's a summary judgment. Or maybe you can have without prejudice summary judgment. I don't know. In Pennsylvania, I have no idea. Either way, thank you guys for joining us. We got a couple things to talk over, including the Phil case. I don't know, has Phil even posted today? We can go look. But a couple things it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that it's an automatic win for Bree. Okay? That's a completely different case. Does it help her case? Absolutely. Oh, it looks like he hasn't commented at all on his channel today. It doesn't mean that it's an automatic win for Bree. So what is Bree being sued for? Bree is being sued for the statement that the affidavit she gave to the Scranton Times lawyer that they did have sex as a minor. This is definitely very, 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 very good for Bree because the judge ruled in this case that he admitted to these things. When he signed his guilty plea colloquy, no matter how he wants to twist the contact part of it, he admitted that he was guilty to what he was charged with, the indictments. Even if you only take one of those charges, when you take a plea deal, you're basically saying, yeah, I'm guilty to all of that. And all I'm being officially charged with is this, but I'm guilty to all of that in the affidavit. And we read that in the judge's opinion, or the judge's ruling. So this definitely helps her. He's saying that she made up this affidavit, but we already have a ruling in place that says, well, Phil admitted to this already, right? Now she's countersuing for, she has a counterclaim against his case for all the things he's done for her, to her, like the harassment, the dragging her through the mud, the things she said, all that stuff, right? Defamation, slander, libel. And I think she has a pretty good chance of definitely, I don't think Phil's going to win against her, and hopefully her counterclaim succeeds against him. In the Nick Alvear case, though, it doesn't make nearly as much of a difference. And here's why. The Scranton Times wrote an article that said Phil pled guilty after having a sexual relationship with a minor, right? And the article was built on the irony of these guys claim that they're taking down the deep state pedophiles, but this guy over here is a pedophile. The same guy that's saying that this is to take down pedophiles, he is. That was the irony of that was the encompassing theme of the article, right? That he has his own legal trouble, he has his own things going on, and he claims to be this bastion of freedom and free speech and taking down these horrible satanic people. Nick Alvear said some pretty wild shit. Nick Alvear didn't just say that a 25-year-old Phil Godlewski had a sexual relationship with a 15-year-old, okay? Nick Alvear said some way out-of-pocket shit, like that the reason that Phil doesn't have custody of his kids is because the judge thought that Phil would fuck his kids. That's wild, dude, right? That is fucking wild. Like, you guys one day might find out that I have a charge about fucking domestic violence or something, right? In the back, I don't, but let's say I do, right? I have a domestic violence from 10 years ago. And then me and my wife and kids live together, and then someone starts running around the internet saying the reason that Will doesn't have his kids is because the judge was afraid he would beat them to death. That's just not true, right? Phil does have custody of his kids. When he didn't have custody of his kids, it was because of QAnon stuff, right? It had nothing to do with his infidelity. It had nothing to do with his time as a teacher. It was because QAnon stuff, and I think that Dory was worried about the QAnon stuff and people around the QAnon stuff because the things that Phil was saying, and knowing that they weren't true and knowing that these people were crazy, afraid that someone would show up. So she petitioned the court saying basically he's crazy. Now, that didn't last long, and Phil has had joint custody ever since. We see him. He posts pictures with his kids. His kids fly out to stay with him and do their thing, whatever, right? For Nick Alvear to go above and beyond and say that, like, you know, like conspiracy theorists can't just stick to the facts. They've got to do above, beyond, over the top, whatever they can shove in there that makes whoever they're talking about look worse and them look better. So, it may help Nick's case, but if Phil's lawyers get down to the actual claims, so here's what happened in the case. Phil can't prove that he didn't have sex with her because he already admitted he had sex with her. Phil can prove that he does have joint custody of his kids. He can prove the absence of any judge ever saying, I'm not giving you custody of your kids because I think you'll fuck them, right? He can prove that Nick Alvear said these things. He may even be able to prove that Nick Alvear should have known or entertained serious doubts about this because Phil's posting pictures of his kids all the time. Phil has his kids. Phil shows pictures of his kids. Nick Alvear was monitored everything Phil posted for months and months and months. So I don't know. I've always said since we started this, the best chance of Phil winning a case is against Nick Alvear. Now, is that 50%, 70%, 20%? I don't know. But it's better than the Scranton Times case. If Chris Kelly would have published that, and I know that Phil doesn't have custody of his kids because Judge so-and-so thought that Phil would be at home fucking his own children, Chris Kelly and the Scranton Times never would have won this case. Ever. Ever. Like, that would have been the center tenet to this case. They would have blown that shit up. I think it's wild that he said that. I think there's a couple of wild fucking things he said on podcasts, and I'm sure Phil's legal team probably has clips. Does Phil still pursue this case after the loss with the Scranton Times? I don't know. He might wash his hands with the whole thing and say something like, clearly the court system's rigged against me. I'm just going to have to drop these cases. I'm just spending money. We'll have to wait until Trump is officially back in office before we can pursue this. I don't know. But Nick, like, I'm telling you right now, if I had the money that Phil has and someone was running around telling people that I couldn't have custody of my kids because the legal system, the judge, the courts thought I was fucking my kids, I'd be suing the fuck out of them. Right? Like, that's fucked up to say. That's over the line. That's over the line. He's only the lawsuit against me. Phil's only mentioned it a couple times. He said he mentioned it in text a couple times under a Rumble comment. Someone said Cold Beer Confessional's talking about you, and he said Cold Beer Confessional's day's coming in court. He told people that the DEA was after me, and he knew that from an insider source. And he said a couple times, like, I'm going after everybody. I'm going after Rolling Stones and CBC or Will or whatever. He's just, I've never seen any paperwork whatsoever that he's ever sued me. He said it a lot, maybe, I don't know, 10 times, maybe a little less than 10. But yeah, I've never seen anything about it. What else? So it helps Pebbles' case. I think it helps Pebbles' case because he's claiming that because Pebbles sent him a personal email, and in this personal email, she's like, well, you're a fucking piece of shit, dude, and talks about how he's a piece of shit. Well, he's admitted to those things, so it's not even a secret. And all that was handled privately, but then Phil decided to dox her publicly. I think it helps her case. It probably helps Nick's case, too, on the claims about what was actually in the movie. The problem with Nick's case is the stuff that he said outside of the movie when he was on podcasts, when he wanted to get a laugh, or when he wanted to make it spicy or whatever. Nick didn't know enough about the case to be talking about it. He could have made his documentary and kept his fucking mouth shut. That would have been good. But when he went on these interviews and people wanted drama, people wanted salacious claims, people wanted him to go over it. There were some times where they're like, well, what's going on with the briefcase? He's like, I don't know, but I can call my person and ask. I'll text them right quick. Like, how can you be the guy who made this documentary about Phil and not even know, like, basic questions about what's going on right now? So his spouting off on a couple different podcasts definitely favor Phil in the court of law. But we'll see how that works out. Who knows? That's if I was Phil's lawyer or Phil, that's what I would have focused on. Were not the documentary, right? Because the documentary basically has a lot of the claims Scranton Times did, and we're already in a case there, and we didn't look like it was going so well. But the stuff that was made outside of the documentary. But I saw someone said they had like a gentleman's agreement, and maybe the case isn't even going forward now. I have no idea. I just saw that on Twitter. Anyways, Shaq to the Future was here last night. I gifted him a sub so they won't have to watch ads. But they're back on Twitter if you want to follow them. Somebody asked me about the meteorite. So when a meteor it comes to Earth, it goes to the atmosphere. A lot of it burns up. And then as it's coming through, like towards ground level, it usually breaks up. And so what happens is, can I open paint? What happens is there's usually a path that it travels on. And through that path, there'll basically be like maybe the best way to describe it, like a spread of places where the meteor could have landed. So let's say, I don't know where my little pen thing went. That's what I was looking for. Let's say the meteor traveled this path, right? So typically when people go out hunting meteorites, a meteorite is when it makes landfall. Now the whole time it's traveling this path, it's breaking up. And because it's breaking up, you end up with a path that kind of looks like this on both sides, anywhere inside the yellow where you might find a meteorite. Most meteors never become meteorites. They burn up or whatever. But that also means that a lot of the small pieces, potentially could have found on the ground, and they're worth a lot of money. Like, there's been shows about them. There's people who are just meteorite hunters that go out and hunt for meteorites. Like, there's a bunch of stuff with that, and you can make thousands of dollars from hunting meteorites and shit. The problem is, okay, so like the place where it entered, basically, let's see if we can do this. Basically, when it broke the sound barrier, that was like right over my town, okay? It continued on past that, obviously, and if it had a trajectory to hit land, let's say it would have hit right over here. We'll draw a little bullseye at the top. It would have hit right over here. I think this is this place that someone sent me an article and said that, oh, it should have hit over here. I think this place is like an hour from my house, which you got to imagine is traveling faster than the speed of sound, and it's pretty high up in the sky. So there's a chance that there'll be meteorites scattered through here anywhere, people's yards. The reason you see, at least to me, I think the reason you see a lot of meteorite hunters out west is there's a lot of vacant, empty land. There's a lot of BLM land. There's a lot of parks that are gigantic land. Where I live, most of the land is either national forest or privately owned. So the reason there's not a whole lot of meteorite hunters is because you'd have to have permission to get on every fucking person's property, right? Let's say this is 500 miles long, like this path. You might have to ask fucking 2,000 people for property or for permission to be on their property all the time. So there you go. I haven't heard anything else about anybody finding a piece of meteorite. All I've heard is that it passed close. It woke a bunch of people up. It was heard for a long ways all around the area, different places, different cities, woke people up out of bed, just a lot of stuff like that. But there you go. Scared the shit out of me. It scared the shit out of me. Like, I was shaking when I left here. Ran red lights, doing like 100 miles an hour on the interstate. Thank God the cops weren't following me, because I don't know how I would have explained, like, there was an explosion and I'm freaking the fuck out. You're going to have to follow me to my house. I'm not stopping. But yeah, that was it. What else? I think that's it for, I saw JD Vance literally. Oh, first of all, this is like, damn. So we have a picture of Trump speaking, and everybody has a lot of people have hard hats on in the background. And we know that there was a rally that there was a shooting at, right? And the guy got popped in the head. So Destiny's tweeting out pictures. Destiny's tweeting out pictures of a Trump rally of people wearing hard hats, saying the smart that people are coming more prepared to Trump rallies now. Got him. Damn, Destiny, dude. Damn it, bro. Anyways, JD Vance was speaking the other day and said he doesn't need a teleprompter because he actually has ideas in his head and thoughts in his head, unlike Kamala Harris. Then immediately makes a mistake saying Abbey Road instead of Abbey Gate, which was the gate at the Afghanistan airport where the suicide bombing happened that killed the U.S. soldiers. So he's basically like, I'm not an idiot like her, and then immediately makes a mistake. That was pretty funny. There's been a couple of funny JD Vance. We'll watch some TikToks before we get into some of this. I'm sick. So we're going to talk about the older millennial here in a minute. And I know he's got a lot of followers. And there's either one or two things going on. I don't like to believe the conspiracy like, oh, someone's telling him what to say and paying him. Like he's like a paid actor or an operative. But either one or two things is happening. This guy is corrected. He's lying and corrected multiple times a day. He never makes a retraction. He never comes back and says, oh, I got it wrong. He never deletes a video. He never changes his stance even when he's proven wrong again and again and again. So either he just knows that hopium peddler for MAGA retards is the way to social media success, and he's like the most disingenuous, bad faith influencer that fucking exists on TikTok, or he's a paid actor, one of the two, because there are things that he should know. There are things that he's corrected on. There are things that he definitely does know and he's just lying about them. Not like as bad as like Phil, but he's just lying about shit. Like when he did that video of the hangar video for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and Air Force One's in the background, and they had a rally. He's like, if anybody finds me one single video from the crowd outside the hangar, then we'll all admit we're wrong. We'll all take it back. We'll all delete our videos and make videos saying that it wasn't AI. And thousands of people have responded to him with videos from the crowd. He just ignored them all, right? Went on to make content about something else. Now he's calling out a creator that I don't personally really like that much. But still, he's calling him out for the wrong reasons. Before we get to that, we'll cover something more funny, funnier. So someone did a dramatic reenactment. You guys know the Costco guys I show all the time. Boom or doom. That's a double chunk chocolate cookie. That guy. What about the double chunk chocolate cookie? The Costco guys. Someone did a dramatic reenactment of the Costco guy finding out his family is leaving him and his wife is divorcing him. Here we go.
Is that a double chunk chocolate cookie? No, AJ. It's divorce papers. Boom! Hey, Big Justice, what do you think? I don't ever want to eat another chicken bake with you for the rest of my life. Boom! No, Dad, I don't think you're getting it. We're leaving. We're done. AJ, you better listen to your son. Double chocolate cookie. No, Dad, there's no more cookies. We're done. We've had our final cookie together. We are leaving. We're the Costco guys. Yeah, about that. I think it's a good time to tell you, I canceled your Costco card. You're not part of the family plan anymore, Dad. Meat. More meat. More meat. That was great. I don't know. You can go to ShopRite from now on or something. I don't know. Is he getting it? I don't think he's getting it. AJ, I'm filing for divorce. This family is over. Do you understand? That gets 5 big. Boom, boom, boom.
Now, the reason this is coming out is because a few things have come out. So let's see if do we have the response? I'll see if I can find it. Hold on. His name is AJ responds to yelling. So a very cringe, very, very cringe. People like to see content they believe is genuine. And even when it's staged, they don't like to see that it's staged, right? It's like finding out how hot dogs are made or something. Like, people respond to content that is genuine, and when it's staged, people don't like to see that it's staged. Now, you'll remember when this first came out, and I was talking about how fucking cringy it was, how fucking cringy this shit was. I told you he seems like the guy who's tried his whole fucking life to be viral and has always failed. And now he's forcing his kid to do this weird fucking video thing just to be viral. And it seems like those are true. People have found older videos of him. People have found videos. He's basically been trying to go viral for his entire fucking life, right? And he finally found something that sort of sticks because it's so like cringeworthy. But then a behind the scenes footage come out of them, and check this out. Yeah, I'm not saying their content's genuine. It's definitely staged. But I don't think people knew how bad it was staged. So check this out.
Action. 3, 2, 1. Boom!
No, we're here with Jay Kind of Funny.
No,
okay.
don't worry.
No, we're here with Jay Kind of Funny is first. Okay.
We're here with Jay Kind of Funny.
And this is boom. All right, one at a time. Okay. We're here with Jay Kind of Funny.
Okay.
And this is boom, we're doing. And then I'll say this when we're doing. You say the chicken maker or the double chunk chocolate.
Ready? And action. We're here with Jay Kind of Funny.
And this is boom or doom.
The chicken bake.
Or the double chunk chocolate cookie.
I gotta go with the double chocolate cookie.
No, you gotta taste it. You gotta take it. First taste it. First taste the chicken bake. Oh. Then taste the double chunk.
So it's clearly very, 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 very staged. And he apparently has this whole script in his head that he didn't tell anybody what it was. Because this guy has no idea. This is Jay Kind of Funny. He's another creator. But he has no fucking idea what he's supposed to be doing, obviously. But don't worry, I'll tell you.
The chicken bake?
Or the double chunk chocolate cookie.
I gotta go with the double chocolate cookie.
No, you gotta taste it. You gotta take it. First taste it. First taste the chicken bake.
Oh.
Then taste the double chunk chocolate cookie, and then give your answer.
Yeah, then okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sorry.
Here, try the chicken bake.
Okay.
It's so chickeny, it has bacon,
Oh my goodness.
savory.
Oh my goodness.
It's so good. It has cheese.
This definitely gets a boom. Definitely.
All right, now try the double chunk chocolate cookie.
Let me do that one. Let me do that one. You ready? All right, Jay. Now you gotta try the double chunk chocolate cookie.
I've been waiting all my life for this. Oh my. That definitely gets a boom.
It's not looking good for me, guys.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this one.
Wait, hold on 1 second. All right. Okay, here we go. And say, all right, Jay, which one gets the boom and which one gets the doom?
All right, Jay, which one gets the boom and which one gets the doom?
I'm sorry.
It's one thing to make like content with your kid when you're like having fun, but when you're treating it like this, like a job and everything is like wrong, no, you gotta do it like this, it's so weird. People did not take to this video very well.
I'm gonna go with the
You would say wait, you would say the chicken bake gets the doom?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. The chicken bake gets the doom, and the double chocolate cookie gets the boom.
Action. 3, 2.
And they made a response to this.
Jay Kind of Funny.
And this is boom.
Ready? And action. We're here with
That up. I'm going to take this moment to.
So this is Big AJ addresses the behind the scenes video. Apparently, this is their podcast they have, and here's where he addresses it.
Something that's been going on out there. I know there's the video of us in Costco where it was behind the scenes, and we were working on a video, and I was directing with Eric and also with Jay Kind of Funny, and some people may have taken it the wrong way. So some people's perception of things could make a difference. So what was going on there was our behind the scenes. And I also want to say there were 7 of us there recording content that day. It was Big Justice and I. It was the Rizzler. It was Jay Kind of Funny. It was Amariah. And it was Jay's brothers. And also Uncle Savasta was there.
And Mommy and Ashley.
Mommy and Ashley were there. Costco was very, very busy that day, so we were just really trying to get through.
I don't like how he calls his wife mommy.
Through the clips.
That bothers me, though, right?
Now, at no time did I raise my voice. At no time did I get aggressive with anyone. But, it seemed to have upset some people that, we were directing and we were trying to get the lines right.
Yeah, but I don't think when you're using a kid that young, I just think it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths when you're treating them like an employee, when they're not having fun. You're like fucking scripting every word that they say.
To make things easier for the editor. So, I'm going to take this.
So that was his response. People didn't take very well to his response either. By the way, while we're talking about this, I just found a new death threat, I think, sort of. I can see why this channel is garbage now. Hardly any views, garbage content, and self-absorbed asshole running it. This was when I made a video about Rollo Tomasi, the red pill grandma who had all this racist backup account. Garbage content and self-absorbed asshole running it. They use the wrong form of you're a punk and need your face beat in. I can't wait for the Civil War to begin. Clowns like you best be hiding. We'll find you. So there you go. That was a good one. Come and get me.
Thankful we are to have all of you.
How do you stay positive through seeing negative comments and seeing negative videos and stuff? Because a lot of the time, as everybody knows, you can get a million positive.
And I don't believe his his persona. He's always happy, not a care in the world. he seems like the guy that always acts like that on video, but loses his fucking shit behind the scenes.
Positive comments, but that one negative comment sticks out more than others, and it just cements in your brain.
I think we already know how Big Justice and I react to the negative comments. We put out another video the next day, so see where that's getting you. Then the next thing is, if you guys see where our responses are on all the happy and positive comments, because we're bringing the happiness, and there's only so many hours in the day. We only have so many heartbeats left in our chest. That's where my time is going. That's where my energy and my effort is going. This is something that...
So people also found some... is this another one behind the scenes?
I'm really hungry. I don't know what to eat.
How about the chicken bacon?
Or a double chunk chocolate cookie.
No, there was a couple behind the scenes videos that come out, and they were just super fucking cringy. They were super fucking weird. Everything scripted, and then they found a bunch of old content that like he's always trying to be viral as like this like, I don't know, like super fit dad that does all the things for his kid. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's very weird. They have all this content where he's been trying to go viral forever, and he finally found something that did it.
I don't know how this always happens. Now we're running late for the Marvel event at I Play America. We had all morning, and now we're going from early to late. We got to get moving. If you don't get dressed, we're going to miss Hulk. Eric, we're going into the Marvel show? Who are we going to see? Hulk, Spider-Man, Captain America. Where do you see Ashley? All right, we've entered the arena.
This is some of their old vlogs.
Extravaganza. Go ahead, keep dancing.
The kids are cute. I'll agree with that. That one small kid that you just saw is that Big Justice kid. His name's Eric. I don't know. He's just not. He doesn't pass the vibe check.
On three, I want everyone to yell Captain America as loud as you can. 1, 2, 3.
Captain America! This is nap time for Eric Justice. This is nap time for Eric Justice.
He does have on a lot of eyeliner. Or something's going on. I don't know. The whole family's fucking cringe. Cringe as fuck, dude. So fucking strange. All right, I got some more content before we get into other shit. This is a clip that someone put together of Trump being fucking weird.
And who always has your best interests and has your back. I have your back, I have your heart, and I have every other part of your body. And I have...
Who says that? I have your back, I have your heart, and I have every other part of your body.
And who always has your best interests and has your back. I have your back, I have your heart, and I have every other part of your body. And I have every other part of your body. And I have every other part of your body. And I have every other part of your body.
Now, it's interlaced with headlines that says, like, Trump says states might monitor pregnancies to track abortions.
And I have every
Trump says states could prosecute women for abortions under his watch.
other part of your body. And I have every other...
RNC approves platform that would give rights to fetuses endangering abortion and IVF.
The part of your body, and I have every other...
Republicans push wave of bills that would bring homicide charges for abortion.
The part of your body, and I have every other...
Nearly 65,000 pregnancies from rape have occurred in states with abortion bans, study estimates.
The part of your body, and I have every other...
Mississippi abortion ban forces 13-year-old rape survivor to give birth.
Part of your body.
So it's interlaced with headlines, but who the fuck even...
Has your best interest.
That's so creepy.
Has your back. I have your back, I have your heart, and I have every other part of your body. and I have every other part of your body, and I have every other part of your body, and I have every other part of your body, and I have every other part of your body, and I have every other part of your body, and I have every other part of your body, and I have every other part of your body.
I don't know. That's cringy as fuck. And then my favorite video of the day was this. So I'm going to pause it as soon as it starts and then read it to you. But it's funny. Hold on.
I'm calling the sheriff's department. I just got to...
All right. So apparently they're doing some work. And the neighbor come over and hit one of them with his scooter, smacked him or something. And it says, our neighbor tried to call the police department. It just says the department, but the police department on us. And he says, I'm calling the guy with the phone here in the green shirt says, I'm calling the sheriff's department. I just got assaulted. That's where the video starts, okay? So, here we go.
I'm calling the sheriff's department. I just got assaulted by this old fuck.
The sound it sounds like a video game sound.
I'm calling the sheriff's department. Assaulted by this old fuck.
To be fair, they might have gotten in trouble for that because he fucking wrecked on their hose, but still.
Sheriff's department. I just got assaulted by this old fuck.
This is my favorite video. I don't even know if they put out any more content around this, but this is so good. Let's talk about the older millennial for a second, and then depending on where that goes, we might watch some more videos. So, the older millennial is the guy who we've seen the video. We have seen the video, what he claims, right? We've seen what he says. He's basically debunked in real time. He's just fucking lying about shit. He's lying about AI videos. Basically, whatever Trump's lying about, he's also lying about. He's been going really hard on Tim Walz and his stolen valor, this, that, and the other. And the guy, I looked him up today. His real name is Joe Redden. The guy was in the Army, right? So he should know basic facts about the Army. There's this other guy called the Jolly Good Ginger, and he covers drama. He covers a lot of stuff that is that's going on and that's happening drama-wise, and he also does some political stuff. Now, I don't even agree that much with the Jolly Good Ginger. A lot of the things I'm like, well, he's probably taking it too far. Even this video that I'm about to show, I don't necessarily think it's the greatest. I don't necessarily think he conveyed his thoughts very well in this video, but he did make a video. He is a veteran. He's been to both Iraq and Afghanistan, the Jolly Good Ginger has, and both those deployments were during the wars that were going on there, right? That makes him a combat veteran. That is literally the definition of a combat veteran. You served, you received hazardous duty pay, and served in a hostile combat zone. That's the definition. Individuals who served in a conflict zone while in the military. So he's a combat veteran. That's the definition. That's how it works. And here is his video that he made. Now, this is from July 4th weekend.
I took my family to King's Dominion today, and we stayed for the fireworks show. The problem is, so did everybody else. But luckily, in my trunk, I keep a fold-up chair, a cooler full of beer, and a Bluetooth speaker. So while everybody else is fighting their way out of the parking lot, I'm just chilling. Listen, we're not free till we're all free. Right now, we're not all free. So when you say it's Independence Day, I say independent for who? Listen, I'm a combat veteran in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm proud of who I am as a person. I'm proud that I was...
He says I'm a combat veteran. I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan.
Ready and willing to put my life on the line for a cause bigger than me. I'm not proud that I got duped. I'm not proud of what my country has become. I'm not proud of what my country has came from. But I'm proud to know that I know people who want better, who demand better, who are willing to fight for better. I consider myself amongst a group of veterans who will fight for this democracy. We'll fight for justice for all. I don't need to fucking get a tear in my eye over a flag or an anthem. I get a tear in my eye over injustice. Anyway, I'm fucking rambling at this point. The point is, independence for who? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Cheers.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I'll agree with that, but I think it goes a little bit too far. I mean, it's the greatest nation on earth, right? There's nowhere else where you're more free, right? You can't say that, right? But I don't even agree necessarily with a take in this video. The problem is, it's a fact that he's a combat veteran. It is a fact that he's a combat veteran, okay? He deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, he's not combat arms. He's not, his MOS isn't fucking infantry or fucking scout or fucking, right? He's not combat arms, but he's a combat veteran. And the reason he's a combat veteran is because you get a combat action badge for being in direct engagement with the enemy, right? They're shooting at you, you're shooting at them. That doesn't make you a combat veteran. That's above and beyond. That's a combat action badge is above and beyond a CAB or a CIB, a combat infantry badge if you're infantry. But when we were in Iraq and Afghanistan, you might be a fucking cook or a quartermaster, and we would be hit all the time. The base would be hit all the time with indirect fire, with missiles and rockets. You're in a combat zone. You are a combat veteran. Right? Now, there's a lot of gatekeeping around, like, military and, like, people who did deploy, people who didn't deploy, people who stayed inside the wire, people who stayed outside the wire. But nobody's denying that people that went overseas with that potential to lose their life, right? You could be a cook and your plane gets shot down on a fucking approach, or when you land, more likely when you land on the landing strip. They like to shoot our vehicles while they're on the ground because they can't hit them when they're in the air. But like, as soon as you land, fucking RPG hits the fucking vehicle, or a mortar round hits the fucking C-130 you're on, and fucking die. You're a combat veteran. Now, if you don't have a combat action badge, fine. You didn't engage directly with the enemy in combat, but you were still there. Even if a mortar never lands near you, even if no one ever shoots at you, you were just in Iraq or in Afghanistan during the times that we had campaigns going on there. You're a combat veteran. But because the older millennial is trying to set some type of fucking record for how many times he can be wrong on the internet, and he doesn't like this guy's political beliefs, he decides to make this video, which really pissed me off. I'm going to have to refresh it. Hold on. I'm starting to really hate this dude, in case you haven't noticed.
Listen, I'm a combat veteran in Iraq and Afghanistan.
No, you're not. And I know that because I have your DD-214. Now, first, let me say that while I love Jeffrey, I'm not doing the gasp. Sorry, Jeff. I tried it. Made my fucking throat hurt. I don't know how the fuck you do that all the time. But y'all should go get his shirt. It's in his shop.
So he's saying, I love you. I'm even wearing his merch. I love his stuff. But you are not a combat veteran.
Back to Jolly Good Ginger's claim that he's a combat veteran. And don't worry, I blacked out your personal information. But here's your awards, homeboy. Also, you were a Korean linguist. You were a Humit dude, which I know quite a bit about because I went to DLI too. Farsi. So I took a look through all these awards. You did deploy to Afghanistan. You did deploy to Iraq. You were never awarded a combat action badge.
That's not what makes you a combat veteran. You fucking retard. And this guy was in the army. Served in like communication role with like a one of the special forces groups, 7th group, I think. He was a fucking communications guy, right? But he was in the army. He knows this. Nobody claims this. No one claims like you're not a combat veteran unless you fucking killed at least 3 people or 1 person. What? No one claims this. Ever. He was in the army. He knows this is a lie.
Which I know quite a bit about because I went to DLI too. Farsi. So I took a look through all these awards. You did deploy to Afghanistan. You did deploy to Iraq. You were never awarded a combat action badge, which you would have been awarded.
Not to mention, it's combat action badge are cool to have. They're like fucking combat bling, right? Lots of people like to get them, have them, whatever. Lots of places are fucking stingy as shit with them, right? Lots of units are stingy as shit with them because the paperwork, a lot of times that comes along with enemy engagements. When you've been in a war zone for 20 fucking years, all the red tape that comes around, like somebody getting shot at or whatever, a lot of people don't even report that shit. Mortar rounds coming in on the base, they're not going to fucking get everybody. Or let's say mortar rounds are coming in the base and people are taking pop shots from across the wall or whatever. They don't go around and round up every fucking body that was within 30 meters of a fucking mortar round or heard a bullet whiz by and everybody gets a combat action badge. They just don't do that. But that's not the cutoff for it either way. Either way, that's not the cutoff for it. And he knows that and then tries to high road this guy and say, you should know that.
Had you seen combat? Let me be clear to all the civilians out there who don't know any better.
That's exactly what it means. I read the definition of it.
The term combat veteran is reserved for people who actually saw combat. It's not people who were in a combat zone. And
wrong. According to the Department of Veterans Affairs, who are the people who would decide that you're a combat veteran. The military doesn't decide that you're an anything veteran, right? You're active duty when you're there. The VA decides classification of veterans because that's who you deal with when you get out. According to the Department of Veterans Affairs, a combat veteran is a military member who has served in a combat theater. There are several different ways that you can get this to prove this. Receiving a combat service medal or service ribbon, receiving hostile fire pay, imminent danger pay, and those tax benefits that come along with that, or having military service documentation that shows combat theater active service. That's all you need. And he literally just read that, right? He said it says you went to Iraq. It says you went to Afghanistan. That is documentation that shows combat theater service. That's literally one of the definitions of how you can prove this.
Jolly knows that. And I'm sorry, but that's unacceptable. He
claims that
veteran.
He claims that he knows that. Jolly should know that, not me. I'm lying out my ass, but he should know that. And you're not a combat. You're stolen valor, just like Tim Walz.
Zone, and Jolly knows that. And I'm sorry, but that's unacceptable. You're not a combat veteran. You're stolen valor, just like Tim Walz.
So then Jolly responds to this. I don't understand what the fuck is wrong with this guy. Like, he knows he's got to know he's lying about this.
Listen, I'm a combat veteran in Iraq and Afghanistan. No, you're not. And I know that because I have your DD-214.
Oh my God. You guys are so boring. So let's address this video real quickly. Number one, he says he has my DD-214 and I don't have a combat action badge. There's lots of people who've seen combat who don't have combat action badges. Just ask anybody who served. He says he went through all my awards and I did go to Iraq and I did go to Afghanistan, but no combat action. Iraq campaign medal with arrowhead. Arrowhead. That's interesting. And then lastly, he says this.
Let me be clear to all the civilians out there who don't know any better. The term combat veteran is reserved for people who actually saw combat. It's not people who were in a combat zone, and Jolly knows.
No, Jolly doesn't know that because Jolly disagrees with you. I've never, ever heard anybody make that distinction for the term combat veteran. Reserved for people who see combat. Define seeing combat. Is it getting shot at? Is it getting mortared at? Is it getting rocketed at? If you deployed to a combat zone, I consider you a combat veteran.
Everybody does. The VA does. Every other veteran that's ever fucking existed does.
And I've never heard other veterans make this distinction. And clearly, I was in, and clearly I deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't know, man. But I don't know, man. You said you went through my medals, but clearly you didn't. However, let me be abundantly fucking clear. This is all just deflection and distraction. And no matter what I say, you guys are going to scream stolen valor.
It's fucked up that, like, if you're not the most right wing of right wing people, and you go on social media and talk about anything else other than like worshiping Trump, that's the claim you always get is stolen valor. People have said it about me, Dr. Z and Nick Alvear and all those people, Script Keeper, all those people said it about me because I disagree with them politically, because I don't think Q is real. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Valor. It's been going on since I joined this app in 2020. Anytime I have a leftist idea or I say I'm a leftist, I'm told that I'm either stolen valor or a traitor to my oath. You motherfuckers have been saying that for 4+ years. 13 years in the United States Army, I have a right to have my opinion. So you can send all your sycophants to troll my page if you want to. Doesn't bother me. I'm going to continue to say that Donald Trump is a traitor, and I'm going to continue to push for the Harris-Walz ticket in November.
So let's go back to the older millennials page. This guy is such a fucking joke, dude. All the way from his hedge funds. All the way from his hedge fundy lies. I've never seen anybody have to be corrected as much as he is, and no retractions. Here's the Tim Walz dog story. So let me explain this before he fucking butchers it. The right become fixated on Tim Walz's dog. And here's what happened. Tim Walz posts one Instagram picture of saying like happy birthday to his dog, Scout, I think his name is, right? And it's a black dog. Then he posts another Instagram picture that said, this was a good day to be at the park with Scout. We had a fun time. And he's petting another dog that's on a leash being held by someone else. And they're like, he doesn't know whose dog is whose. He doesn't even remember what I don't even think he has a dog. No, he pets someone else's dog, and there's a photo opportunity there, you fucking retards. This is the dumbest, dog gate is the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard. Now listen to him explain it. And he knows this isn't true. Every outlet has covered this and said, he did go to the park with his dog. This picture is him petting another person's dog because typically at a dog park, there's other dogs. I don't know. I think they got dogs in fucking masks and clone dogs and reptilian dogs or some shit.
Know what breed and color Tim Walz's dog Scout is? I'm only asking because I can tell you who doesn't know. Tim Walz. Let me show you what I mean.
And in neither post, or in the second post, he doesn't say, this is my dog Scout. Like, this is so fucking retarded.
This is from Tim Walz's official Twitter account. It's back in 2022 when he's running to be the governor of Minnesota. On June 5th.
Now, obviously, this says sending a special birthday shout out to our favorite puppy, Scout. Now, obviously, this is going to be a picture of his dog, right? Because he's saying happy birthday to his dog.
15th of 2022, he posted this. Sending a special birthday shout out to our favorite pup, Scout. And then they posted a picture of him.
Him and the black dog.
Apparently,
Scout.
his dog Scout. Very beautiful dog, very endearing photo. But then just 4 months later on the...
Now, all this one says is couldn't think of a better way to spend a beautiful fall day than at the dog park.
Official account?
I know Scout enjoyed it. Now, he doesn't say dog in picture is my dog Scout. He just says, I know Scout enjoyed it. It could have been, he was a governor candidate at the time. It could have been someone that's like, hey, aren't you running for governor? And he's like, oh, yeah, beautiful dog. And someone took a picture from his campaign, right?
This is October 19th of 2022. He said, couldn't think of a better way to spend a beautiful fall day than at the dog park. I know Scout enjoyed it. And this was the picture.
But he doesn't say, this is my dog Scout. He just went to a fucking dog park. If he says, I love my Toyota 4Runner, and he shows a picture of his new Toyota 4Runner, and then he says, I drove to Walmart today, but he's standing near a red Prius. Are you going to be like, he forgot what car he drives?
Picture he posted with it. So is this Scout or is this Scout or is neither of
Tell me this is hard to understand.
them Scout? Because if this is Scout, and I guess Scout decided to wear blackface this day.
There you go. That makes it make sense. Scout was wearing blackface. You got him.
Which would be totally not cool. My question is, does Tim Walz even actually have a dog? Or is this shit just photo ops? Is he just grabbing dogs to take photos with so that he can seem like a normal guy?
That's it. He's just grabbing dogs to take photos with. Random people's dogs and saying, oh, this is Scout.
Am I the only one that thinks this shit is weird? 4 months apart, 2 different dogs, yet somehow both are Scout?
Well, no, you're not the only person who thinks it's weird because someone else invented this entire conspiracy and you just jumped on the bandwagon to get your right-wing grift in.
Just curious what the fuck is going on. Do any of you know what?
Sure you are. Sure you are. Just curious what's going on. Just curious what's going on. Let's see what else he's fucking lying about. I don't even know what the fuck this one is.
I just got a guideline violation for pointing out that the Obamas are rich. Seriously, that's all I talked about in that video. They said it was hate speech and hateful behaviors. How? All I showed in that video was Michelle Obama giving a speech saying that they'll never have access to generational wealth. And I pointed out that they're worth like $100 million. That they gave their daughter an $8.5 million trust fund, which was mostly property and has almost doubled in value. So their daughter is starting out her life at like age 20.
Do you understand that because one family that's black is wealthy doesn't mean that all black families enjoy generational wealth? One white family that's extremely wealthy does not mean that all white families enjoy generational wealth, right? You can understand that, right? One dog being petted does not mean that that dog must be Scouts.
With like 15 million, and they comfortably have somewhere between 70 to 100 million. Like they are.
She was talking shit about Donald Trump's generational wealth, how he probably would have been better off just investing the money he had.
To be generational wealth. So it was weird to me that they would say they have no access to it. They're literally starting generational wealth for their family. How the fuck is pointing out that the Obamas are really rich hate speech? It wasn't hateful. I mean, I might be a little jealous. There was nothing hateful in there. How the fuck is...
You'll get there with your hedge fund you're managing for the middle class hedge fund. What else has he got? Where are all the airplane videos? I know he's done a bunch of them. Here's disagreeing with every study. We don't have a housing shortage.
Have a national shortage of housing.
No, we don't. We do not have a national shortage of housing. Every study shows that is complete and total bullshit. Now, we do have a shortage of affordable housing. The difference between having a national shortage of housing and a national shortage of affordable housing is the first one is the fault of builders.
Okay.
The second one is the fault of government.
Oh, okay.
The first one, it's just pretty straightforward. We haven't.
So if builders, for some reason, decided to only build homes for 2 million plus, that's the fault of the government.
Built enough homes, but we have. Every study shows we have anywhere from a nationwide surplus of 2.7 to 3.5 million houses. We take all the people looking for housing, we have nearly 3 million more homes than those people.
Yeah, there's no penalty for frivolous reporting. The J.D. Vance video that I did, just making fun and pretending to be J.D. Vance, got reported for hate speech and bullying and harassment, I think.
If we break it down to like metropolitan and micropolitan, the 381 metropolitan areas in the U.S., only 4 of them have a house.
He's quoting one study that came out of, what was it, University of Oklahoma, while every other study says the exact opposite. But he's found one, right? He's cherry-picked one.
Housing shortage. And in the micropolitan, which is areas with like 10,000 to 50,000 residents, 19 of the 526 areas.
Oh, I did realize something with like Trump sycophants. I don't think any of them realize what the Jan 6 master plan was. Okay? I don't think any of them realize what the January 6th master plan was. The plan wasn't that a bunch of fucking meth heads, most of them without a full set of teeth, would storm the Capitol, hold the building, and make Donald Trump president. You got to look at the bigger picture, okay? Donald Trump wanted Mike Pence to skip over states that he had fake electors sign affidavits for, which is illegal. Right? And the reason they weren't his normal electors that were in waiting in case he won those states, a lot of them said, this is illegal, I quit. That's how other people, like that woman that wrote the book the other day, we covered her. That's how she became a Trump elector, because a lot of them didn't show up and they just pulled people out of the crowd. He had a slate of electors. It's an honor to be an elector when your candidate wins. He had a slate of electors that were assigned, ready and waiting for him to win the election. When he didn't and said, we're going to sign anyways and say you did win, I did win, a lot of them dropped out. But all the Gen 6 stuff with Mike Pence banging the gavel and sending it to the states, skipping over certain states where Trump had fake electors for, even the storming of the Capitol was all an attempt to delay the certification while he had more time to convince people about the alternate electors that he signed up illegally in states he did not win. And then eventually that would kick that back to the House. Why is it it's such a big deal that it kicks, if it's undecided and they can't certify, it kicks it to the House? Why was that his only path to victory? Because the House doesn't vote one person, one vote. They vote by states. And there were more Republican states than there were Republican representatives of states than there were Democrat representatives of states. So he would have won like 27 to 23 or whatever. He was literally trying to steal the presidency without winning the election. 100%. That was the plan. That was the documents that were sent to Mike Pence. How do we get Trump back into office? Here's how we do it. We get it delayed. We get it stopped. You bang the gavel. Then it's over. Nobody can say anything. It gets sent back to the states. No one knows what to do. The procedure says call for a vote in the House. So call for the vote in the House. All the Republicans will vote for Trump, and that'll be 27. All the Democrats will vote for Biden. That'll be 23, and Trump is president without winning the fucking election, the Electoral College, the popular vote. None of it. None of it. It wasn't just a bunch of retards trying to break into the Capitol. It was all a master plan to cause confusion, to delay certification, possibly prevent certification. Mike Pence bangs the gavel. It was in that memo that was written to Mike Pence. Once you bang the gavel, there's nothing anybody can say. Don't slow down. Don't stop. Skip over these states and bang the gavel. Because by the Constitution, that means this meeting's over. The certification didn't go through, so now we kick it back over here, and we'll make sure we'll have time from the delay. We'll have time then to convince people we have an alternate slate of electors, and they can vote in Trump. Like, this was literally a plan to steal the fucking election while he's screaming everybody else stole the election.
Have a housing shortage. The rest of them have a huge surplus. You have to understand that from 2010 to 2020, number of houses built did not keep up with the number of families formed. But there's a huge surplus from the previous decades. In fact, when we look at it from 2000 to 2020, housing production exceeded family production by 3.3 million homes. Problem is, you motherfuckers keep printing money. Production exceeded family production by 3 from 2000 to 2020. Housing.
Why would we look at it from 2000 to 2020? In 2024, right? Did something happen around 2020 that maybe like threw the world into a gigantic crisis where nobody was working, builders weren't building, buyers weren't buying, and housing market shot through the fucking... Did something happen around that time, or did we just cherry pick the data to cut off in 2020 for some other reason?
Production exceeded family production by 3.3 million homes. Problem is, you motherfuckers keep printing money.
Okay.
The money we have is worth less and less and less. Poor mismanagement of the economy is why we can't afford fucking houses. It has nothing to do with a...
Same here. Houses we were looking at. So I when I say this, it shocks people, but we live in a place that is like cheaper to live, right? I live out in bumfuck Tennessee. So really nice houses that were like turnkey to go in were like 160, 180, 200 max, what we were looking at. Turnkey, they get approved for a VA home loan, which the inspection is pretty stringent on it. Ready to go. You don't need to remodel. You don't need to do it. It's just a house, a nice house. Those went up like $100,000 to like getting closer to $300,000 literally within like a couple weeks while we were looking at houses. Not to mention, there were people that were getting like the scoop on houses that were going to be listed. And even though they legally had to be listed on the MLS, as soon as it popped up on the screen, when you hit refresh, popped up on the screen, you'd call and they'd say, oh, we already had an offer from a corporate buyer. Like they were, I think, realtors, and they were offering more than asking price. I think realtors, in my area at least, I can't prove this, but I think realtors were tipping off corporate and hedge fund and big buyers, right? They were tipping them off early that there would be this house, tell them the price. They were getting, asking plus, $10,000, $20,000 on top of it, and it was sold before it was ever listed. It was sold before it was fucking listed. And legally, some of this stuff had to be listed to keep everything fair and all that shit, but it didn't matter. It was already fucking listed. I'm almost convinced of that. I can't prove it. I wish I could, but we were desperately looking for a house. This is when we broke our contract on our house. We had the GoFundMe that somebody set up for us, and we had money to put a down payment down and could not buy anything. Not only did it price it out of our range, but it didn't matter if we did find something even close to our range. It was already sold. It was already fucking sold. Let's see what else we got. I wanted some of the airplane. Let's talk about Ray Gun. Where's all the airplane shit that he was freaking out about? We've proven the video was not AI. The fucking airplane video was absolutely not AI. I don't know. Make it make sense. Debating liberals.
Debating liberals on TikTok is always so interesting. As I debated Parker, and after I schooled him, his response was, and then I debated Dean, absolutely dog walked him, and his response was, and then lastly, anytime a grown man calls out Harry for his lies, so that's fun. Debating liberals on
Sure, I'm sure that was the exact. Well, there's a bunch of, hold on. The older am I? There's a bunch of videos of him getting debunked on basically fucking everything, dude. This is a good one.
He made the video. This is Trump's speech in the Bronx.
Remember when we watched this video? So he was claiming that Trump has bigger crowds than Kamala Harris because Kamala Harris is using AI. Now look at this video. This is Trump's speech in the Bronx. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to New York, but does that skyline behind you, does that skyline back there, does that look like the Bronx? You've probably seen Law and Order. You ever seen Law and Order? Does that look like the Bronx to you? He gets debunked multiple times a day for just outright lying. And Google would have fixed this for him.
He made the video. This is Trump's speech in the Bronx. This is what it looked like today in the Bronx, New York.
And we saw the crowd from the Bronx. It was actually laughably bad. But
the bluest of fucking blue states.
You can tell because just behind it is the famous Bronx Archway in the Bronx, New York. That is St. Louis, Missouri, you houseplant. So either best case...
By the way, it was an Obama rally in St. Louis. It was an Obama rally in St. Louis. Here's what the older millennial does. I think that he sits on Twitter all day and looks for these fucking, half of them are fucking bot accounts that are just like roasting you leftist, liberal motherfuckers or whatever. And he immediately just grabs all that, runs with it, and that's his fucking content, that's his images, that's his script, and he just repeats it all for clicks. It's either that or he's a paid actor, but there's no way he checks any of this.
Case scenario, you are intentionally lying in this video. Or what is far more likely, and as evidenced in every video you've ever made about anything, you are, again, professionally wrong about everything.
It's almost like there cannot be any fact checking here. There cannot be any fact checking here whatsoever, because even the simplest of searches would tell him that he's fucking wrong. Or like repeating that AI bullshit. Like he said, there's no videos. He said there was supposedly thousands of people outside this hangar, and there's not been a single video posted to TikTok. I Googled Kamala Detroit, and the first 5 results were videos from outside the hangar. He's like, you can't find one. Why wouldn't anybody post it? It's AI. And if someone shows me one video, I'll take my video down. I'll make an apology and say you were right. There cannot be him searching for anything.
Dude, it's so fucking embarrassing at this point.
He made the video.
I'm about to debunk this MAGA Republican so badly. Just take a look.
Wow, Harry. All this attacking of older millennial.
I thought the green M&M wore those sexy boots and had big eyelashes. Wasn't she like the one that the Fox News claimed that she was into anal sex or something?
Based on one clip. One photo. Okay, it was an honest mistake. How many times has he debunked your ass, Harry? I cannot even count on fingers and toes how many times. And you're writing him on one picture?
These are his supporters. They're like, yeah, get him, older millennial.
One picture.
Yeah, he's definitely wearing the green shirt, but you can tell he's had some peanut in him.
You're doing all this based on one picture.
Barack, you were never awarded a combat action badge, which you would have been awarded had you.
All right, I want to make a response to the older millennials post. I'm a huge fan of the older millennial and all your content and everything.
So this guy's a huge fan of him and all his content. Here's where it says it. There's a lot of gatekeeping about who counts as a veteran and who doesn't. That's within veteran communities, right? That's from the guy that writes for Task and Purpose, which is a veteran-oriented news magazine or online publication. The Department of Veteran Affairs defines combat veterans as troops who have received hostile fire pay or imminent danger pay at any time during their service. They've earned a combat service medal. That is not a combat action badge. That's the campaign medals we have. Or have military service documentation that shows they were in combat theater.
Else, I fully agree with you on everything. I don't like the ginger guy either, but I had to post now on this because this is the one time the old millennial made a big mistake. And I'm a U.S. Army veteran of 10 years. I was in Iraq for 2 years. Year and a half, got hurt halfway through my other tour and got sent home. But it was back in 2003 till January 2005 when things were hectic, hot, and crazy. We were more 9 times a day, almost every day. There wasn't up-armored vehicles. There wasn't barricades. You know, the worst place you could be was inside the wire. So a lot of people think that if you're inside the camp, oh, everything's safe.
There's a lot of people that can get DD-214s. So you have to know like some information about them, but it's only supposed to go to the veteran or the next of kin, unless you've posted it or put it somewhere. But still, there are people. I don't know if they have people that work in the media or something that maybe can do a request through like official media. I don't know.
Like that's like a timeout zone. Enemy's not going to attack the aircraft and helicopters and helipads that are there and buildings. You know, they're just not going to order it because like it's off limits somehow. And that's absolutely not true. I'd rather be outside the wire getting direct fire, which for those who don't know, direct fire is someone shooting a gun.
Dude, 100%. I would much rather be in a firefight where they're over there, I'm over here, my guys are here, and we're shooting at them, than I would be walking around a base thinking everything's good and hear fucking whistling of goddamn mortar falling on your head.
Directly at you, and so you can shoot and defend yourself rather than indirect fire. Indirect fire means that mortars, bombs, stuff coming from the air, there's nothing you can do. That's just luck of the draw. Indirect fire when they're bombing you.
Yeah. If it's your time to die, there isn't much you can fucking do. I mean, after a while, after a few days, you don't even fucking run to the bunkers and shit anymore. Like, it's just, if it's your time, it's your time.
You do is put your head between your legs and pray that you're lucky. So when I served over there, I had multiple of my friends in my unit that got hit and died. And so they served, you know, I can remember how many times I was sitting on the computer talking with home and the mortar started landing, the sirens going off, the computer starts moving across the table, everything's shaking, you know, just constantly nonstop. You know, and you got driving outside the convoys going into Baghdad and all the IEDs are out there, you know, ambushes that are out there. So it doesn't matter if you're a combat arms unit or you're a support unit. And for all the civilian people who don't understand, there's always that camaraderie, that not camaraderie, but that tension between the two, where, oh, if you're not combat arms, somehow you're a lesser of a soldier, which isn't true. I support the combat arms, I salute them. You know.
Combat arms does a very specific job, but they wouldn't do any of it. Well, like I was combat arms. I know that I wouldn't be able to do any of it without all the fucking logistics and support behind it, the fucking intel, the fucking food, the water, the fuel, the everything. That's the rest of the army that makes it possible for me to do my job.
You know, I absolutely understand their position and everything else, and I appreciate them. But when you go into a combat theater, everyone's combat arms, because the enemy does not distinguish between a combat arms infantry unit and a support unit. You're going to get shot at.
Exactly. You think the enemy's going to run up on you because they're fucking, let's say they're launching mortars at a base. You think they're only aiming at people who have shot at them before?
The same. So you have to know how to defend yourself the same. So in war, we're all combat arms. All right, so let's not joke around and act like, oh, if somebody's a cook or in finance or this, that, and the other, that somehow they're safe, when clearly they're not. Okay, so, and I can tell you that the number one place that they wanted to attack in Iraq was the airfields on your base, when the aircrafts were on the ground, because they can have a very hard time, pretty much almost impossible time, shooting them in the air. The only chance...
Yes, they cannot hit them in the air. Basically, they can't. So takeoff, landing, and when they're static, when they're on the ground, is when they hit them with RPGs and shit. You can't use an unguided RPG to fucking shoot down a Black Hawk. It's incredibly hard when it's fucking hundreds of feet in the air, right? But when it's coming into land and it's trying to be as smooth as possible and not fucking crash, that's the time to hit it. Or when it's sitting there and it's been sitting there for 5 days and no one's taking it out yet because it's waiting on maintenance.
They have destroyed aircraft, which they really want, was when the helicopter or the airplane or the Predator drone was on the tarmac, on the ground. Fire mortars and hope that they hit one. That was their goal. So if you're in camp with an airfield, you have a higher possibility of getting attacked every day. So now, what Old Millennial is saying here is that if you've been into those theaters and you've been there and you've served there, you're not a combat veteran because you didn't get the combat service medal badge. So I have here, as you can see, because gotta love Google, it says on here, the Department of Veteran Affairs defines combat veterans as troops who have received hostile fire pay or imminent danger pay at any time during their service. Earned a combat service medal, that's what Millennial's talking about, but that's just one thing. Or have military service documentation that shows they were in a combat theater, i.e. Iraq and Afghanistan. So if you were in those designated areas, those are designated combat areas, i.e. we get paid imminent danger pay, everything else on ours. That's what it says here, hostile fire pay or imminent danger pay. And it says that on Ginger's DD214, just like it says on mine. Now, I'm not a big fan of Mr. Ginger. I do not agree with anything he says. But, you know, the truth is the truth. He is a combat veteran because he was in that area. Just because you're not pulling M16 and shooting people in the face does not mean you're not in combat. Because that's not modern day combat anyway. Modern day combat is...
Look, for those of you who hate Trump, feel free to point out anywhere in this video where I say something that's not true.
Okay.
I got you.
The whole case stems around her accusing Trump of doing something 28 years ago.
The case that all the alleged conduct took place 28 years ago? No. This case has two parts, the assault itself and the myriad defamations that follow.
The only evidence
he spent the next 28 years defaming her.
She presented was thrown out because it couldn't have possibly been disclosed unless E. Jean Carroll or Donald Trump was a fucking time traveler.
The DNA evidence thrown out because of timeline issues? No. In fact, the age of the dress played absolutely no issue in the evidence not being permitted. How do we know this? The decision to disallow the dress or any mention of it was written down, as things tend to be, by Judge Kaplan in an order issued on the 15th of February 2023. Here's that order. In short, Judge Kaplan determined that Trump had ample time to respond to Carroll's request for a DNA test during the discovery phase, that Trump's agreement to comply only after the discovery phase was completed was not timely and was clearly intended to delay proceedings. Procedural histories of Carroll 1 and Carroll 2 described above demonstrate
So Trump was trying to delay it. He didn't want to do the DNA test.
that Mr. Trump was anything but diligent in seeking the appendix to the DNA report. His counsel, of course, either one, knew of the omission of the appendix and decided not to ask for it, or two, were grossly negligent in failing to read the report. If the former, he is not now entitled to change his mind. If the later, he was not diligent by any stretch of the imagination. Mr. Trump's offer to provide a DNA sample as a quid pro quo for production of the appendix and then to begin a process of new expert analysis inevitably leading to further reports and discovery almost certainly would delay the trial. Furthermore, there was concern on behalf of the court that the evidence, if it existed, would not be informative, and the case as it existed did not turn on the presence or absence of such evidence. Kaplan writes, first, even if there were a match between Mr. Trump's DNA sample and the mixture of DNA recovered on Miss Carroll's dress, that would tend to only show that there was some encounter between Mr. Trump and Miss Carroll on at least one occasion when she wore the dress, but it would not prove or disprove Miss Carroll's allegation. Second, even if a DNA analysis were to determine that Mr. Trump could be eliminated as a potential contributor to the mixture of DNA found on Miss Carroll's dress, the probative value of such a determination would be very far from conclusive. It would not disprove Miss Carroll's accusation. The alleged rape could have occurred without a sufficient quantity or quality of Mr. Trump's DNA to have remained on the dress since the mid-1990s. Third, it is possible that the result of further DNA analysis using Mr. Trump's DNA sample would be entirely inconclusive.
The entire case was based on the idea that she said Trump did something. There was no witnesses and no evidence.
Is it true that there were no witnesses? Not true. To any assault, you're always going to have two witnesses, the perpetrator and the victim. E. Jean Carroll testified. Trump had an opportunity to take the stand and defend himself and elected not to, other than to endorse everything he said in the deposition, which in retrospect may have been a mistake. In addition, there was a...
Especially when they're like, oh, you said she's not your top. Could you identify the woman in this photo? That's my ex-wife. Nope. Nope.
Testimony supplied by
E. Jean Carroll.
Friends whom she had told about the assault contemporaneously, and they testified to that fact. Furthermore, there was the evidence introduced as to Trump's character, the Access Hollywood tapes, and Trump's deposition, which was quite...
Yeah, does it remind you of anybody, the delay in court? That's what Phil did. He knew he was going to lose the case, so he drug it out as long as possible. He wouldn't even return documents.
damning all on its own. Lastly, for the purposes of the Carroll 1 trial, the defamation suit resulting in the $85 million judgment, there were 2 additional critical pieces of evidence. That he had in fact been found liable for assaulting Eugene Carroll and defaming her as determined by a previous jury. I am not a lawyer, but I'll share a pro tip with you anyways. If you lose a civil trial and are found liable for assault and defamation, don't hire a lawyer that doesn't know what collateral estoppel is for future related litigation.
Look, for those of you who hate Trump, I don't know how Trump did it, but he managed to get Under the Desk News to do a campaign ad for him. And I gotta say, V crushed it. Check it out.
Here are the first 15 promises he has made if he is reelected. First, he promises that he will carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in history.
Well, the current record...
Collateral estoppel. So estoppel, we were talking about it in Phil's case already. Estoppel means that you're bound. So Phil already pled guilty to charges that had to do with having a sexual relationship with that minor. So he's not allowed to now say he didn't. Basically, that was what was in that judge order we read last night. So collateral estoppel would be you can't relitigate some issue that was already resolved in a previous judgment against you. You're just accepted that you have to accept that, right? It's already been, if you didn't appeal it and you didn't change something, you can't relitigate it now.
Holder is Obama, but I got faith Trump can outdo him.
He will also ask for the death sentence for anyone convicted of human trafficking.
If you're a person who opposes that, go ahead and speak up. We'd love to know more about you.
He will close the Department of Education.
There's some people that support no death sentence at all, right?
And return all education standards to the states to decide.
You know what also returns to the states when they eliminate the federal Department of Education? $84 billion per...
I don't like that state. I don't like that states will have the ultimate goal. I mean, like, we already have states that trying to meet federal requirements are the dumbest states in America. You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to do when every state decides its own education system, what it takes to graduate? What is going to be the difference between someone who graduates in, like, Louisiana and someone who graduates in California, and how are we going to hold them accountable to both have fucking diplomas? You know what I'm saying?
Year. That's what we're spending to have a national Department of Education that doesn't do a fucking thing. Yeah, if you're opposed to the school systems having an additional $84 billion every year, go ahead and speak up on that one.
We'll put prayer
I think she's just reading the things that he said he would do.
back into school.
No, he won't. No, what that means is he will allow people to pray in school. There has never been and never will be forced prayer in public.
No one stops anybody from praying in school.
Public school.
When I was in school, we had meeting around the flagpole, like a prayer thing. They prayed at football games. You didn't have to participate. No, you can pray right now at school.
He's just saying you should be allowed to if you want to.
He will criminalize any race-based advantage programs.
Good. Any program based on race is inherently racist. Nobody should have an advantage because of the color of their skin.
He will end the Affordable Care Act.
Good, that thing's been a fucking disaster. That program helped nobody. Just made shit far more expensive.
I don't think he's going to end it anyway. He's going to end it the first time.
He will ban gender-affirming care for adults and children, and he will ban any federal dollars from going towards gender-affirming care.
Thank God. These people will finally be able to focus on getting the mental health care they deserve.
Which means anyone with government-provided health care will no longer be able to access gender-affirming care except for Viagra and Cialis.
Since when did Viagra and Cialis become part of gender-affirming care? What the fuck is gender-affirming about Viagra and Cialis? Were you just throwing that in there to try to talk shit? Sorry, but there's nothing gender-affirming about boner pills.
He will propose a constitutional amendment that gives a term limit to Congress.
Oh, you mean that thing more than 90% of Americans support? That constitutional amendment will pass faster than any amendment in history.
He will deploy the Department of Justice.
I don't know that it will. Not if Congress is voting on it.
The Biden crime family and any of his adversaries or political rivals.
Oh, V, do we not know how quotes work? Because yes, agree.
He will deploy the Department of Justice to investigate the Biden crime family and any of his adversaries or political rivals.
Oh, V, do we not know how quotes work? Because yes, he did say he was going to deploy the Department of Justice to investigate the Biden crime family. So the quotes were correct there. But the political rivals and adversaries part? Yeah, you don't need to quote that because you made that up.
No, he said that. We've heard him say that on this show. That he should use the department, when he wins, he should use the Department of Defense to investigate his political opponents.
Immediately pardon all of the January 6thers.
Good, because the prison term given to those people was fucking ridiculous.
He will increase the penalties for underage criminal offenders.
I could go either way on that one, but I'm not really opposed to it.
Strengthen immunity for police officers.
Well, since they protect us, our government should be protecting them.
No, they already have fucking swaths of immunity and unions to protect them, and they still aren't changing.
Deploy the National Guard to patrol woke cities.
Again, V, with the fucking quote bullshit, not his fault that the woke cities are where all the fucking crime is. If you have a problem with a city deploying the National Guard, take that shit up with Kathy Hochul, who's a Democrat, by the way.
On day one, he will reassess our participation in NATO.
Good, because this is the current breakdown in spending. Annual budget for NATO is 1.3 trillion, of which we pay 860 billion. Yeah, fuck these countries. We don't need to be paying for their defense.
He will
Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
also restore the wonderful travel ban for Muslims coming to America.
Oh my God, you're still trying to refer to that as the Muslim ban? Because what it really is a ban on travel to America from any country who does not do criminal background checks before issuing a passport. It's a ban on allowing criminals to fly to the U.S. Their religion doesn't fucking matter.
It will remove all of the limits on American natural gas exports and
it just so happens that they're all Muslim-dominated countries. It's just a complete coincidence.
Drill for oil domestically.
You recognize Biden's already doing that over the last 6 months, right? That's why he does not do criminal background checks before issuing a passport. It's a ban on allowing criminals to fly to the U.S. Their religion doesn't fucking matter.
It will remove all of the limits on American
All 7 countries are Muslim-majority countries.
natural gas exports and drill, baby, drill for oil domestically.
You recognize Biden's already doing that over the last 6 months, right?
Right, but Biden doesn't claim that we're going to fix the economy by drilling more. We're drilling more than any other country ever has. We produce more oil than any other country ever has.
Why gas prices came down for a little bit? Because Biden allowed for more drilling and more extraction of oil than at any point in our history. And yes, being energy independent would be fucking wonderful.
He will impose a tariff of up to 60% on Chinese imports.
Oh, good. Our tariffs on Chinese products will finally match up with what the Chinese tariff us for. But you probably didn't know that because you didn't.
But you're going to be paying it. I don't know why he thinks that Trump does not understand tariffs in any way, shape, or form. One of his rallies, he's like, they think that tariffs are a tax on the people. They are, effectively, right? You're paying it. No one else is paying it. When you buy that good, when you buy that item, especially items like electronics and shit that you can only get from China, that's where they're made, that's where they come from. You can't go to a different U.S. manufacturer, right? When you buy that item, you pay that tariff.
Didn't do any research before trying to talk shit.
He will extend the 2017 tax cuts and drop the corporate tax rate from 21% to 15%.
Sweet, because the 2017 tax cuts were fucking awesome. And if you don't believe that, pause to read. And as far as dropping the corporate tax rate from 21 to 15, good.
Trump's promised to cut the taxes, reduce the deficits, and also has all these plans for spending. The things that Trump's promised that are not possible. They're not possible. You can't reduce the deficit and give tax breaks and plan on spending all this money that he claims he's going to spend. You can't do those things.
That'll be an extra 6% they can reinvest in their business, which, if you're unaware, usually means hiring more people.
He will push Congress to pass legislation that would give every American the right to concealed carry anywhere at any time. And he will revoke any gun restrictions or legislation that seeks to inhibit people's ability to own guns that's been passed in the last several years.
Oh, goody. We'll finally get back to being a fuck around and find out type of country.
He will demand that Europe pay back all the money we gave Ukraine, and then he will use all of that money to recruit for the American military.
Well, Europe's not going to do that, but I like the idea.
We'll take billions and billions of dollars from private university endowments by taxing, fining, and suing the universities.
I fucking love that idea.
Like his university was sued.
And then he will use that money to create the American Academy, a free online college.
Oh no, actual free college. How terrible.
So that's Agenda 47.
And it's fucking awesome.
Unless you've done 20 plus years, you should keep his name out your mouth.
Oh, there is so much to address in.
I'm not going over the Tim Walz shit
for a
again.
minute, and then I'm gonna end this man's career.
Look, I know I make fun of California a lot, but this is, without a doubt, the dumbest thing California has ever done. Oh, and that's not an opinion. That is an economic and mathematical certainty. Oh, and don't worry, I'm going...
What's your least favorite part of Kamala Harris's tax plan? Let me know in the comments.
Prove it in this video, because setting the minimum wage at $22 an hour for fast food workers can only lead to one of two outcomes. The first outcome, which is very unlikely, is that fast food restaurants cease to exist in the state of California. Don't worry, I'm going to explain why. Or the second and more likely scenario is that the prices for everything at these restaurants increases dramatically.
Now, this isn't fast food, but this is the same complaint that I heard.
So here's a study that's done. Kamala Harris's tax proposal. If you make less than, if your average income is $19,000, you will get an extra $23.55. If your income is $48,000, you'll get an extra $22.60. If your income is $81,000, you'll get an extra $2,165. If your income is $138,000, you'll get an extra $28.70. If your income is $216,000 per year, you'll get an extra $2,580. If your income is $326,000, you'll get an extra $1,800. Now, if you make $591,000, you'll lose about $880 a year, $880 a year. If you make $1.7 million, you'll lose about $8,000 a year. And if you make over $14 million, you'll pay about $167,000 of that, $167,000 of that to taxes. Now, Donald Trump's plan, if you make $19,000, you will get more, $320 more, compared to Kamala Harris's $2,300. If you make $48,000, you'll get $870 more compared to Kamala Harris's $2,260. If you make $81,000, you'll get $1,700 compared to Kamala Harris's $2,100. If you make $138,000, you'll get $3,970 compared to Kamala Harris's. This is the first time that he's above Kamala Harris. You'll get $3,870 compared to $2,870. If you make $216,000, you'll get $6,000 back instead of $2,500. If you make $326,000, you'll get $9,000 back instead of $1,800, as Kamala Harris would give you. If you make $591,000, you'll make $21,000 back instead of owing $880. If you make $1.7 million, you'll get $50,000 back instead of owing $9,000. And if you make $14 million, you'll get $376,000 back instead of owing any. But Kamala Harris at $167,000. So Trump gives less to everybody making under $200,000 and gives more to everybody above that. Those are the two tax plans compared. I'll read you this article, but this is from CBS News. Presidential candidates commonly trot out new tax proposals as part of their campaign platforms, often pledging to help ease the financial burden on taxpayers. This year, the plans emerging from rivals Kamala Harris and Donald Trump could affect voters' paychecks in very different ways. Former President Donald Trump would seek to extend tax cuts enacted through the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, his signature 2017 legislation that reduced taxes for most Americans, although research has shown that the top earners received the biggest benefits. Of course they did. He's also proposing to eliminate taxes on tips and on Social Security income while also lowering the corporate tax rate. Vice President Harris has proposed introducing more generous tax benefits for families and lower class, as well as hiking corporate tax rate to help offset spending from bigger tax credits. The two proposals reflect different views on how to best support U.S. families and fuel economic growth. On the one hand, Trump's plans would provide tax cuts for all income groups, but the biggest winners would be higher income Americans, those of $300,000 or more. The greatest benefits under tax plans would go to the lowest income Americans, while she would up the tax on top earning households. It is true that Trump looks like he's a winner for everybody, but he'll provide much bigger giveaways to the top 1% and the top 0.1%, whereas Harris will be negative for these people. said Kent Smetters, faculty director of Penn Wharton Budget Model, a group within the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business that analyzes the budgetary impact of government policies. Ultimately, both plans would come with significant price tags, although the combination of Trump's tax cuts for corporations and individuals would prove much more expensive, the Penn Wharton forecast said. It is estimated that his proposal would add $5.8 trillion to the federal deficit over the next decade, compared to a potential $2 trillion from the Harris plan.
Prices will go up at the stores. Yeah, researchers looked at it from University of Washington.
When you're talking about people as well that make $14 million or above, I know it sounds crazy that they'd pay $167,000 in taxes, but one, they have the disposable income to find every fucking tax break imaginable. So most of them, if not all of them, are not going to be paying that much. They'll buy vehicles and sell cars and do whatever to find the tax breaks. And two, I don't think you realize the magnitude of, I made $14 million this year. They won't even miss $167,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're probably already paying $120,000. So the $167,000 just isn't even relatable to $14 million in profit this year. But let's go back because I want to watch this video.
I'm gonna end this man's career.
Look, I know I make fun of California a lot, but this is, without a doubt, the dumbest thing California has ever done. Oh, and that's not an opinion. That is an economic and mathematical certainty. Oh, and don't worry, I'm going to prove it in this video. Because setting the minimum wage at $22 an hour for fast food workers can only lead to one of two outcomes.
Okay.
The first outcome, which is very unlikely, is that fast food restaurants cease to exist in the state of California. Don't worry, I'm going to explain why. Or the second and more likely scenario is that the prices for everything at these restaurants increases dramatically.
Now, this isn't fast food, but this is the same complaint that I heard. Prices will go up at the stores. Yeah, researchers looked at it from University of Washington. It didn't. In fact, there's very little correlation between any substantial price hike and raising the minimum wage. For instance, there was a study that was looked at a number of years ago about how much it would cost to give all Papa John's workers health care. It was 17 cents a pizza. I mean, there's no substantial evidence. This is going to
17 cents a pizza.
Cause incredible price hikes. There's a couple of things I want to bring up. One, it's disgusting that people require other people to live in poverty so that they can eat fast food, so that your life can be doing a little better, so you can save a couple of pennies. But second, if fast food is too expensive for you, or food is too expensive for you because of a minimum wage hike, well, you know what you should do? Get a better job. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It is an incredible hypocritical contradiction. If people want more money to afford things, they should get a better job. But if I want things, I don't have to get a better job. Somebody else has to be paid less. It's always the patriots that love America that hate everybody in it.
Yeah, so there is the unrealized capital gains tax that she's talked about. So what this does is, a lot of people call it the billionaire tax. That's what the media likes to call it, but it's actually called the minimum income tax on the wealthiest taxpayers. So it's a minimum tax. So it imposes like a floor level tax of 25% on the total regular income plus capital gains on all taxpayers that are holding a net worth of over $100 million. So if you're worth more than $100 million, then there's this floor tax on everything you earn that year, plus your capital gains for anybody over $100 million of 25%. I don't know if she'll actually get that passed, but that is something she said she supported.
Even if I did have to pay like $1 more a meal for someone to have a good quality of life, who cares? Who cares? If you don't like it, leave. I'm gonna let this play for a minute, and then I'm gonna end this man's career.
Look, I know I make.
So if you don't like it, leave. That's what the right said for years, right?
When you go to get gas and the pump says, please see cashier.
Oh, I'm gone. Off like a prom dress. I don't care if my truck is 2 miles until empty and the next gas station's 4 miles away. Risk I'm willing to take.
When you go to get gas.
So get this. Today, the older millennial called me
disingenuous for sharing facts about the housing market being different in 2008 to today. His first claim was that this chart didn't even go to 2008. It started at 2009. And he shared his own chart that goes back before 2009 to highlight it's closer than you may think. However, when you're following delinquency rates, you want the newest data. You want to know where things are trending. And I do like the Fred website, but as you can tell, it only gives you quarterly data. So for 2024, we only know quarter one. The reason this chart was used wasn't to hide 2008. It was to show you the newest data because all these red dots are April. And if you notice exactly where he's pointing, delinquencies are trending down. This, however, is not a downtrend, and you have to go further back than 2008 to figure out how we got there. Because delinquencies in the 3% range doesn't mean that at any time we can have a massive 2008 crash. What you need for that is credit stress, and that was in my video, but for some reason, you left this chart out. Probably because your claim of me using
unrealized capital gains are like, let's say I'm invested in the stock market and my stock goes up. Typically, I wouldn't pay taxes on that until I sold the stock. And there's other ways that people get around, like if you hold it for more than a year, then it's a long-term investment instead of short-term, whatever. But it would actually have them pay on the people that make $100 million or more, or net or worth $100 million or more. They would pay taxes on that stuff as they earned it rather than when they sold it.
Pre-2009 data wouldn't have worked if you did. And I'll remove myself from this so you can actually see the data, and it'll show you foreclosure and bankruptcies in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All a big upward trend. So for anyone that tries to play the technical card like, well, it's not 2008, but it's like 2006 or 2007. Nope. That's
not even close.
2024. Nope. Not even close. So you left that chart out, but you did include this one, and this is homeowner vacancy rate. You said you weren't sure why this was included, and said that just because people are living in their house doesn't mean they can afford them. And that's why we have to be careful in this app, because I agree that people are having a hard time. I agree that there's credit stress and car loan stress. Those delinquencies are all rising, but the mortgage delinquency trend is going the other way. It's going down. You know, a lot of that has to do with the historically low interest rates that people are locked into. I've said this, and so many comments say this. They're going to have to pry that 3% loan and that home out of people's cold debt.
They'll hold on to it. Like, if people were sitting on like a 9.5% interest rate or something, they'd be a lot more likely to let it go back, to move, to do whatever. But with interest rates, they got extremely low interest rates right now. If you're holding on to like a 3% interest rate and you know you can't fucking get that anywhere else, that's the last thing you're going to fucking let go. If you're looking at the market and thinking, should I let this house go, downsize, should I refinance, should I do this?
Dead hands. Nobody's saying that about the car loans or their credit card debt. That's a big reason why it's different this time. Who's really the one being disingenuous here? Leaving out over half of the video, including these 3 charts that I put together to line up to show you pre-2009 data. That's all in that video that you stitched. Showing that inventory spiked in 2007, showing that we have more mortgage demand in the 2008 era than we did when we had literal 2% interest rates. That's because anyone over here that wanted a loan got one. Go watch The Big Short. We learn from those mistakes, and it doesn't happen today. Even with the historic low interest rates we had, less purchase demand than 2008. Again, all in that video. Nice beard, though. I don't know how you do it in this heat, though, man. Ooh, no thank you. Sweaty. So today, the older millennial
I'm adding some of that.
Disingenuous for sharing facts about the housing market being different in 2008 to today. His first claim was that this chart didn't even go to 2008. It started at 2009. And he shared his own chart that goes back before 2009 to highlight it's closer than you may think. However, when you're following delinquency rates, you want the newest data. You want to know where things are trending. And I do like the Fred website, but as you can tell, it only gives you quarterly data. So for 2024, we only know quarter one. The reason this chart was used wasn't to hide 2008. It was to show you the newest data, because all these red dots are...
If we divided the 52 billion by 258.3 million adult population, everybody would get an extra $200. $201.31.
51,000 views, but random fucking electrician who doesn't know what he's talking about.
I'm just showing you how many times this motherfucker gets corrected daily, right? 4 or 5 times a day, big accounts are coming out and being like, this guy's a fucking retard.
Random fucking electrician here.
Now he's correcting electricians.
Please tell me how I'm gonna fucking go build a building out of that. Yes, I can take it in, melt it down, add some other alloys to it, and make it into fucking pipe again. Just like a bridge. But you can't take this right here and just fucking throw it up and boom, I got a new wired building.
Sending money to foreign countries for their war effort benefits the U.S. Quite a bit. So what we actually do is when we say, let's say we're sending $250 million to Ukraine or whatever, we actually send it to Raytheon and Northrop Grumman and our defense contractors. And they build new shit and send the old shit to Ukraine. But they have to put a dollar amount on it.
Jesus fuck. You're fucking whining about Elon Musk getting views while you're grifting off of, what, 300,000 or 400,000 folks here on TikTok?
Someone said he has the IQ of a goldfish.
And you don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. Absolutely do not have a clue. You can't take a worn out, cut up bridge and just go fucking stand it back up again. There is months and months of work that would have to go into making that into a new structure.
Nope. Yeah, it was $52 billion. I just Googled total U.S. investment in Ukraine, or total money U.S. has sent to Ukraine for the war in Russia. I just Googled it, right? And then I divided it by the U.S. adult population. It would be, everybody would get $200. 201, actually.
Remaking it into modern steel that can be used and formed into I-beams or trusses or whatever.
I want to see this tweet of the very first. What did Elon say? If you reuse the truss steel that fell, it could be functioning in 3 to 6 months. The repair should be
1,000 views.
Put to commercial. Yeah, let's reuse 50-year-old steel. Oh, so this electrician is like, you don't use 50-year-old steel, or being sarcastically saying, yeah, let's use it. And then the older millennials trying to now correct people on bridge construction. Like, it's almost like he's a professional wrong person, right? It's I don't know. It's such a fucking joke.
What the fuck is going on with the voter rolls in Texas? Like, I'm sure there's an innocent explanation for this, but I can't think of one.
Yeah, I'm really worried about our country, but I'm not worried about the voter fraud, as this guy's implying.
So the numbers I'm about to show you come directly from the Social Security Administration. This isn't some crackpot conspiracy theory website. No, this is SSA.gov. This page exists simply to show you the amount of people that are attempting.
He makes my head hurt.
To the older...
Oh, shit, I didn't mean to skip it. I'm sorry.
What the fuck is going on with the voter rolls in Gov? This page exists.
Every time it's investigated, there's never significant fraud. I think if you live in the state of Texas, you better make sure that you're registered to vote. They are purging voter rolls. If you know somebody that lives in Georgia, if you know their first and last name, you right now can call Georgia, make a report with no negative action against you, and get them purged from the voter rolls. How wild is that? Legend can call from California with somebody's first and last name, or it's actually online. Go online with somebody's first and last name that she knows that lives in Georgia, and get them purged from the voter rolls. They think they're registered. When they show up to vote, there's no same-day registration. They'll say, sorry, you got to register, but you can't vote this time. You can vote next time, maybe. How fucked up is that? Why do Republicans always want less people voting?
This simply to show you the amount of people that are attempting to register to vote in every state.
This here is classic conspiracy. And the fact that so many people were willing to believe...
I didn't even hear his claim.
Attempting to register to vote. Page exists simply to show you the amount of people that are attempting to register to vote in every state.
This here is classic conspiracy. And the fact that so many people were willing to believe it, share it, and comment on it without giving it any thought, that's what concerns me for our country. So let's look at what happened here. He had a belief that the election was going to be stolen. He went out and found data from the Social Security Administration. Classic. Play into fear, and then find data that you barely understand and try to make it look official. It's from the government. It must be real. But what he didn't mention, and what he didn't follow up on, was any logic in the data, and read the rest of the site. This website does not track voter registrations. This website is simply a Social Security Administration program to verify that people are alive or dead and have a Social Security number. Individual states register voters. So look at this case here. He keeps
The federal government doesn't track voter registration at all. That's why it's left up to the states.
Illustrating 200,000 people trying to register every week in Texas. No, this is 200,000 verifications run by the state of Texas. Very different. Of those, depending on the week, yes, I looked back, it's about 180,000, give or take, every week come back as verified and alive. Now, according to him, if these are...
So they're just running a check. It's not people that are trying to register to vote. They just, for whatever reason, they're running a check to see if these people are still alive and have valid Social Security numbers.
Voter registrations, these people would be being added to the voter rolls. Last year, according to the state of Texas, the people that manage the voter rolls, there have only been an additional 100,000 voters registered in Texas. This data that the guy is using and applying that it's voter registration shows 200,000 people plus or minus being added every week. Over the last year.
You don't think someone would notice that 200,000 people, almost, well, 180,000, were added to the voter rolls every week in fucking Texas? He just makes shit up. I don't know, dude. And what's sad is, like, that shit sells. Like, I could go, we've done this experiment before. I could go make up some fucking MAGA bullshit conspiracy and put it out there, and I would have more viewers, more donations. I'd have easier time, be able to pay my fucking bills. I could grift. It's not what, people don't care about what's true. It's what they want to hear. I want to hear that the crazy left is doing this and people are trying to steal the election, but Donald Trump's our hero and he's not going to let them.
Year, there would have been 10 million people added to the voter rolls. There was only 800,000 added. So obviously,
it blows my mind. It blows my mind when people go up and they're like, hey, Donald Trump said that he wanted to be a dictator. And they're like, good. Somebody needs to get in there and just take over and clean this place up. That these people would trust Donald Trump with far overreaching power, like the ultimate power to do whatever he wanted. I wouldn't trust anybody with that power. I wouldn't trust myself with that fucking power, or a relative or someone I actually fucking like and know personally.
Obviously, this cannot represent voter registration. So what does this data mean? Well, I went back and just I'm not an internet expert. I'm not an internet expert on this.
Apparently, so when I was fine with Nick and Script and Dr. Zipper Service, they said that they checked my voter registration. I was registered as a Democrat.
But I have some logic. And I went and looked. Okay, what does Texas do with its voter rolls? And I put it in Google. And guess what? Going back for 20 years, there is law after law and lawsuit after lawsuit of Texas fighting to purge its voter rolls. Texas actively tries to remove people from the voter rolls that are no longer living in the state or are dead. Fine. That may be a good plan. But how do they do that? This is a tool from the Social Security Administration where people can use it to...
So the older millennial is claiming that 200,000 people a week are trying to register to vote. And what's actually happening, because he's a fucking retard, is the state of Texas is checking around 200,000 people a week and purging the people that are dead, about 20,000 or so, purging the people that are dead. So what he's complaining about and saying it's some type of conspiracy to fucking steal the election is actually what he wants Texas to be doing, purging their voter rolls.
To the older millennial on Memorial Day, be a man, own what you said, say it was hurtful, and say you're sorry without any but or excuses after. If you sincerely apologize and you were wrong, people can move on. Now let me bring you back to Germany in 1939. 1939 was the year that the Chancellor of Germany, you know who I'm talking about, started the T4 action in Germany, T as in terrible. The Chancellor of Germany at the time wanted all Germans and Austrians to be perfect people. He felt that those who were mentally ill, intellectually disabled, or physically handicapped were not perfect people. These were German and Austrian citizens.
Oh, I don't think you guys know about this. On a live stream, he basically said that he was okay with eugenics for mentally handicapped people. So I'll read you some of the comments so you kind of get context. I don't think he can authentically apologize. He truly means these things. You can tell by the way he answers with such thought. Very on brand for the older millennial. He's the TikTok Yahtzee. As the mother of a child with Down syndrome, this broke my heart. I used to follow him. This world needs my son, Max. And then the creator responded, it was hurtful and so harmful. He has 1 million followers, has people in his comments agreeing with him. Please repost my video. Even if he does it, it won't be sincere. It'll be the script of what people are asking him to say. He doesn't want to admit it, but when he hears from disabled people or their parents, I believe he knows he's wrong. My son is now a nonverbal man with autism. This breaks my heart. Me too. Also, new followers and reposted. As someone who became disabled, keep speaking up. You rock. Like, I want to find. Let me see if I can find the clip. I don't want to be out of context.
No, you're not. And I know that because I have your DD-214.
Oh my God. You guys are so boring. So let's address this video real quickly. Number one, he says he has my DD-214 and I don't have a combat action badge.
Is this the live stream?
I'm perfectly fine with throwing mentally disabled people off a mountain.
What?
I believe in the betterment of humanity. I don't think we should care.
Yeah, so
I mean, you just heard it from his own mouth. This is the guy that these people are following and investing in his middle-class hedge fund.
I'm perfectly fine with throwing mentally disabled people off a mountain.
What?
I believe in the betterment of humanity. I don't think we should care.
Yeah, so that's eugenics. Like, that's not even borderline eugenics. That's like quite literally eugenics. Like literally what the Nazis did.
You are literally the meanest person I have ever met.
I don't care if you were talking about abortion, which abortion is healthcare and also none of your goddamn business. I don't care if you were talking about.
So I guess this is in the context of some people end up deciding to have abortions when they might find out their kid has, you know, some type of disability or whatever.
Vegans, which was the actual subject y'all were talking.
And the debate was about vegans. I don't know where they got on this line of questioning.
About eugenics is not okay. Disability is a part of life. Disability exists in every culture, every species.
We'll try to find some more clips as well, so people want to say I took it out of context.
Hey, and also, if you're going to be an edgelord in your literal non-apology, don't apologize for saying that people with disabilities should not be on this planet by quoting Rick and Morty.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Which was made by Dan Harmon, an autistic person, and therefore a person with a disability. My God, some of y'all just don't think before you talk.
You run the House or you run the Senate or you run the Senate, but you run the House. We're not going to blame the president because the other party didn't agree. Right? Can we agree?
Wait, yeah, we're fully of that view, but what we're saying is that Biden, with a lesser majority in the Senate and a lesser majority in the House, got more done than Donald Trump did when he had a bigger majority in the House and a bigger majority in the Senate. So if we, the American
argued
people,
against the same thing Obama. I'm not sure you're right. You're not going to win that point against Obama. You're not going to win that point against Obama, darling. You're not going to win that point. You're not going to win that point. Obama's legislation is worse, and you're not going to win that point.
We're not talking. We're not links. Relax.
You're not going to do it. Don't tell me to relax. You need to relax.
Bro, we're trying to have a conversation.
You're trying to do the exact opposite in the same way. It's not going to happen. The law does not dictate. We're not going to do that, honey. Obama's legislation is worse, and you know it. Give him the rest.
Okay, that's great. We're not talking about. We're not.
Is that in Texas? Hold on. Texas. Every state handles their election differently, so I don't know. Election experts cautious as Abbott touts voter roll purge. Federal and state law already require voter roll maintenance. Experts warn that the governor's framing of this routine process could be used to undermine trust in the elections. Texas Governor Abbott announced on Monday that the state has removed roughly 1 million people from its voter rolls since he signed a legislative overhaul of election laws in 2021. Illegal voting in Texas will never be tolerated. We will not continue activity. We will continue to actively safeguard Texas' sacred right to vote while also aggressively protecting our elections from illegal voting. However, election experts point out that both federal and state law already require voter roll maintenance, and the governor's framing of this routine process as a protection against illegal voting could be used to undermine trust in elections. The National Voter Registration Act of 1993 already governs how states should keep their voter registration rolls accurate and up to date, and also includes protections to avoid inadvertent removal of properly registered voters. Year after year, people are taking off the voting rolls for all manner of innocuous reasons, said a lawyer from the Civil Rights Project. Neither the governor nor the Secretary of State's office responded to requests. The majority of voters removed from the rolls were taken off because they died, failed to respond to notices from election officials. Yeah, that's another thing. Let's say you fucking ignore some mail that says it's from the Department of fucking Elections or whatever, State Department, whatever it is. I'm sorry, Secretary of State. You could be removed or moved out of Texas. Abbott's press release also said more than 6,000 voters were removed after being convicted of a felony, so Trump couldn't vote in Texas. The total Abbott cited includes more than 463,000 who were taken off after being placed on what is known as the suspense list. Such voters are removed after the voter registrar receives information that they have moved. If the voter does not update their information and does not vote for 2 election cycles, then they are removed from the rolls. In addition, the governor stressed that more than 6,500 non-citizens who shouldn't have been registered were removed, and approximately 1,930 of those had a voting history, so about 2,000 people. In response to Abbott's press release, a coalition of watchdog and voting rights groups in a letter Wednesday asked Texas Secretary of State Jane Nelson whether Texas has been removing voters from its rolls within the 90-day period before an election, which would be a violation of federal law. You're right. So Texas, or I guess federal law, prevents that. You're right, Rob. The group, which includes ACLU, Texas Civil Rights Project, and the Campaign Legal Center, said, what worries me about this is, remember after the 2020 election, when all these MAGA experts came out of the woodwork and they were like, 100,000, 200,000, 600,000 people voted in this state that are dead. What they used was a database they put together that had obituaries. And then they fooled a database of voters, registered voters that voted. The problem with that is how many people have the same fucking names. We saw people tear apart their fucking data and be like, well, this was a different fucking guy. He doesn't even live in the same city. That he doesn't have the same birthday. He doesn't have the same security number. Like, so many people are named similarly, especially in a family where it could be like your dad or your grandpa or whatever, juniors, seniors, and thirds and fourths, or just some random guy across the fucking state that's named John Smith. That fucking terrifies me.
We're not talking about Obama. Yes, we are. Who do you think was predecessor to Trump? Trump just came out of nowhere? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
You gotta step in here.
Where did he come from?
You gotta step in here.
Where did he come from?
It's not okay.
So you don't know. So you don't know. Okay.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Very valuable.
So they're asking the older millennial to step in here. Like, obviously, this isn't part of the debate. This isn't the topic. This is anything. He just sits there and smiles.
Okay,
he's the host, by the way. He's the only person who can mute anybody.
You run the House or you run Senate. Rock. You were never awarded a.
The disabled millennial experience is watching your non-disabled peers like stretch and then throw their back out.
I wanted to see more of that clip.
You made the video. This is Trump's speech.
Your DD-214 is a very critical document that contains extremely sensitive personal information about your military service and your personally identifying information. It's important to know that not just anyone can access it. Only the veteran, their next of kin, and authorized representatives, agents, etc.
He could technically get in trouble for having that guy's DD-214, by the way.
Or certain government agencies. They can also obtain a copy.
This is what Jeff B. was threatening about a DD-214 when his came out and it showed that he had 0 days of service outside the United States, even though he's claimed to be to Afghanistan, he's claimed to be to Iraq, he's claimed to have been in a bunch of other countries. He had 0 days. So they call it CONUS, continental United States, and they call it OCONUS, outside continental United States. And they keep how many days you served that were in the United States, how many days you served outside the United States. And not even talking about combat. He never left the United States when he was in his service, but he has all these fucking war stories.
Copy. Attempting to obtain it or misuse a DD-214 without authorization can have very serious consequences. This includes criminal charges and civil penalties, and significant fines under the Privacy Act of 1974. Unauthorized access can also result in job loss, damage to your reputation, and even federal employment restrictions and bars. Additionally, the misuse of a DD-214 can lead to identity theft, which carries its own set of criminal penalties and financial liabilities and complications. There are quite possibly other laws at the federal.
I wish he'd burn his ass on that. And And it'd make other people think twice before stealing. Because this has your social and everything on it, right? It has fucking blood type. Sometimes it can have medical shit on it, depending on why you got out. Like, it isn't right. The older millennial, he said he would push off cliff. I wish there's another clip of it. It's not that one. Or someone responding to it would be great.
What's going on, folks? It's Brick. Yeah, it's Sunday, and this morning I'm going to be out on a ride here in a short bit. I'm not going to put any business out there like that because it's association business, and I don't do that sort of thing. But I will say this. I noticed how much attention my video with Jolly Good Ginger, highlighting Jolly Good Ginger got. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to put it out there. And maybe the older millennial actually might agree with this one. I don't know. So yeah, I don't do content for likes or any monetary gain or whatever. I do this just because it gives me something else to do. And I mean, like everyone else, you know, I'm free to express my opinion. But I will say this. I have noticed in the last 24 hours that I have gotten over 1,000 more followers, several thousands likes. I can't thank y'all enough for this.
I wanted to see somebody specifically respond to him pushing fucking people off a cliff or pushing disabled people off a cliff.
Hey, I just want to be one of the first people to congratulate Kamala Harris on her new alliance with North Korea.
The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea.
Jesus fucking Christ, she is running for president.
I've heard people talk about it, but that's the only clip I saw. I wish there was a longer clip of him saying it. It was in a live stream, but I'm sure somebody was recording it because he says stupid shit on live streams all the time. Stuff that he wouldn't put in his regular video. Let's try that. That's the same one, isn't it?
No, I'm perfectly fine with throwing mentally disabled people off a mountain.
What?
I believe
off a mountain. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a longer clip. I'd like to see one though, because everybody's gonna say it was out of context. It was this. It was that. But I think it was around Memorial Day, so it was back at the start of the summer. He's a horrible fucking person.
Just for their disabilities. This T4 action plan took place in total secrecy because even the Chancellor of Germany at the time knew that people would be horrified by this. The first method that was used to unalive those that the Chancellor found to be imperfect because of their disability was starvation. However, starvation was taking too long for those who desired to have those people gone. So the next phase of the T4 action.
Imagine starving disabled people to death, and you're like, this is taking too long.
Disabilities in institutions with something that would unalive them. However, there were too many people around witnessing this that were opposed to it. So they went to the third stage of the T4 plan. And in the third stage of the T4 plan, which took place between 1939 and 1941, they had the SS military dress up as orderlies in white coats go in institutions, driving what was a form of an ambulance at the time to one of 6 facilities was set up specifically for the purpose of getting rid of those who had physical, mental, intellectual disabilities. And at these 6 centers, in order to expedite the process, they used chemicals on them in the form of gas. In that time period, nearly 90,000 German and Austrian citizens who were disabled were unalived until the families of these people started realizing what was happening. And also
people are claiming he changed his story several times. I wonder if I go to his page around that time, when was this one posted?
Can somebody tell me what the fuck?
On 5/27. So let's go back to his page. Two ends. 5/27. I wonder if he made like an excuse video or something. Because people say you keep changing your story now, it's making you look worse. So let's try to go back and see. Or is he one of those people that deletes his shit all the fucking time? We'll see. He makes so much fucking content. But I guess this is what you got to do to fucking succeed on TikTok, man. You got to make content all the fucking time. It's 1:30 in the morning. I forgot. Let's see if we can go back to about 5. I'm just going to click on one and see when it was. 7-2, so we got 2 months. I just watched this one earlier. No one owns their homes because you have to pay property taxes on it. Property taxes should be illegal. Isn't that how we fund schools?
Donald Trump has
we're getting close.
guilty.
And then
That's why a lot of people want to see the abolishment of the Electoral College, which maybe served a purpose in, like, I don't know, the 1800s.
First election that's conducted in the United States after the abolishment of the Electoral College will be its last election, because that is how you get a civil war. Any election held without the Electoral College would lead to a civil war fucking almost instantly. And here's the thing, if you're a person that wants to abolish the Electoral College, you are an idiot. Like, you have to be. Because if you want to abolish the Electoral College, that means you do not understand how our government's set up and how it works. That means you do not understand the psychology of the vast majority of Americans. And I know people say dumb shit like it's people that vote, not land. And yeah, I completely agree with you. However, if you eliminate the Electoral College, what you'd be doing is allowing politicians to ignore the vast majority of America. They would just focus on population center, which, surprise, surprise, is cities, and everybody in the middle of the country would just be ignored. They would basically become serfs to those that live in the cities. And also, an election without the Electoral...
I don't know if this is actually true. I think it would make a lot more people in a lot smaller areas more likely to vote.
Which would probably lead to an end of our farming industry, I don't know, within like 4 or 5 years. Because the people...
It makes me question what the hell.
We're getting close. We're at 5:29.
After spending the last couple days having some long discussions with some creators on this platform that I very much respect, as well as close friends and even family, I think it's very important that I make this video apologizing for my behavior the other night. I said some things that were completely out of pocket. I'm not going to use the excuse that I was drunk, because no matter how drunk I get, I don't get to say shit like that. Being an asshole and being a smartass and being edgy, it needs to have its limits. And for what I said and how I acted, I sincerely apologize. Now, let me also be clear. This apology is not for everyone. This apology is not to everyone. What I said had to do with the unaliving of people. So if you're pro-life, anti-abortion, anti-Planned Parenthood, then this apology is directed to you.
But if you're one of those people that think that women should have access to health care, not for you.
Deeply sorry, and I was wrong. Now, I don't expect you to accept my apology. I don't even expect you to give the slightest of fucks that I made an apology. That's perfectly fine. That's your choice. And I don't blame you. But I also want to be clear that this apology is not for you liberals. If you're pro-choice, pro-abortion, pro-Planned Parenthood, this isn't for you. You hold no moral high ground, and I owe you no fucking apology. Because if you support any of those three things, you're pro-murdering babies. And if you're pro-murdering babies just because you don't want it, then everything's on the table. I legitimately don't give a fuck what you think. Oh, and please don't...
This is the same argument that... If you're pro having a gun in your home for protection, then you're pro potentially murdering someone who's just asking for directions, right? Because that sometimes happens, right? Because you have the choice to do it doesn't mean that you're pro anything, right? You're pro people having a choice.
Don't get it twisted. If you got a watermelon in your bio, this apology ain't for you either. Because if you got a watermelon in your bio, that means you're okay with unaliving people just because of their religion. So no, I don't apologize to you. But to all my conservative followers out there, and even the conservative people that don't follow me, people who actually believe in the sanctity of life, the people who believe you don't get to murder kids just because you want to go on vacation or it was unplanned and you don't want it to fuck up your body.
That's how it works. You guys know that when people make the what's probably a horrible choice for most people, is because they got to get their vacation started. And how are you supposed to look bikini fit when you're 3 months pregnant?
I sincerely and deeply apologize to you. Please feel free to continue to tell me to fuck off. I'm not going to fight with any of you whatsoever regarding that.
The watermelon showed up. I got some quotes for you guys. Want to hear some quotes? Some of his greatest hits. Here we go. A segment titled "Being a Proud Zionist Means Eliminating Gaza Completely," was hosted by Joe Redden, also known as Elder Millennial on X. If you even leave a scrap of Palestinian DNA behind, then you failed in your mission. Yeah, they were begging to come to America where the local tribal Muslims won't fuck their kids. That's a quote from him in his Twitter account. Yeah, they were begging to come to America where the local tribal Muslims won't fuck their kids. Here's another one. Again, imagine thinking calling someone gay is an insult. And just to clarify, no one, and I mean no one, fucks more kids than Muslims in the ME. Sorry to upset you with those facts. Of course is another one. Of course they do. Unlike you, I've been to Yemen. They are a drug-fueled, terrorist-loving, backwards people. Perfect to support Palestine. Oh, and Jackson, if you don't believe me, go there. See how long you last. Actually, according to his writings, Yemenis are drug-fueled. Okay, in response to a statement from Doctors Without Borders. So in response to a statement with that, this Doctors Without Borders said that the hospital and morgue in Gaza are fields. He also commented, sounds like Israel's doing a good job. For the first time, more dead than injured are arriving at the hospital in Gaza. It's Al-Aqsa Hospital in Gaza. The hospital is full. The morgue is full. Doctors Without Borders, quote. He says, sounds like Israel's doing their job. Joe Redden, a Southeast Regional Director with Franklin WH Energy Storage in Tampa, Florida, is a veteran of the U.S. military. The University of North Carolina and Chapel Hill awarded him an MBA. There's more quotes. This is just the ones on his Palestinian quotes. Like, he's pretty fucking wild, dude. Some of the quotes he's got. This is from a website that keeps up with a bunch of this shit. He also has an IMDb page. But, like, these are pretty, like, obviously, like, the stuff around Israel and Palestine can be a very hot button issue for a lot of people. But when someone's like, the hospital's full, many of them are kids, blah, 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 all that shit, and you're like, sounds like they're doing a good job. We have to eliminate their DNA from the planets. Like, that's not a resolution we should have, right?
If you hate me after this, that's up to you. But I am sorry, and there is no excuse whatsoever for those things I said. I hope you can forgive me. So after spending the last couple days having some...
It's not for you.
If I didn't know any better, I'd actually think that the prosecution's closing argument in this case is fucking comedy routine. Because, of course, they had to somehow try to make a case as to why the jury should believe anything Michael Cohen said. Now, obviously, they didn't televise the trial, but reporters have already said what the prosecution said in their closing argument, that they acknowledge that Michael Cohen is a convicted perjurer, both in court and before Congress. They acknowledge that Cohen recently lied to a judge and falsified documents to get out of his probation. They also acknowledge that Cohen got caught lying 3 times on the stand in this trial by itself. But then they just...
I wonder if he said anything else about it.
Ever since I started on TikTok, I get insulted on a daily basis. Like, people talking shit to me is nothing new. But there was a comment on my recent video that actually made me laugh out loud. The person said, "You're not nice." And to that I have to say, what the fuck have I ever done on this platform to make you think I'm a nice person? When the fuck have I ever tried to say I was a nice person? Like, maybe a lot of you don't understand this about my channel, but this is a character. Now, granted, I believe in the things I talk about. Like, I'm actually a Trump supporter.
Oh, it's a character.
I don't get the option to choose him, and the alternative is Biden.
Isn't that the fucking, what's his name? Fucking, I almost said Joe Rogan. Isn't that Alex? Why can't I think of his name? The conspiracy theorist guy, Sandy Hook, Alex Jones. God damn, isn't Alex Jones's fucking go-to? I'm a character.
Trump. But you guys online see the version of me that debates everything, argues with everyone, picks fights with any and everybody, and generally does everything he can to piss everyone off. Please know that in my normal life, in the real world that a lot of people on TikTok have forgot exists, I don't argue with anybody. I don't fucking debate with anyone. No, that's just for TikTok. See, in my real life, when I hang out with my friends, we don't...
Sounds like you're a pussy, is what it sounds like. If you have these beliefs online behind a keyboard where you debate everybody, but you won't call anybody out in real life, sounds like you're a fucking pussy.
Talk about politics. No, we talk about hunting or fishing or golf. While over the last 2 weeks on TikTok, we've covered everything from Trump to Biden to international war to a million different things. In real life with my friends,
We talked about Scotty Scheffler, like probably way more than we fucking should. Now look, don't get me wrong, to some of you, TikTok may mirror your real life. Like who you are on TikTok might actually match up with who you are in the real world. Like if you're on TikTok and all you talk about is politics, maybe in the real world, that is every discussion you have. Maybe you live, breathe, and sleep politics. But I sure as fuck don't. Guys, my time in the real world is focused on shit in the real world. Shit that actually affects me locally and with people I care about. Who is president? Doesn't. Who is running for the Supreme Court or whether or not they put new members on it? Doesn't. Everything you see on TikTok is a fucking character. Like you're welcome to ask anyone who knows me in the real world. And you can actually see flashes of when I'm not my character. You know, when I jump on a live with like friends that I've had for a couple years and we just shoot the shit and don't argue anything. But generally,
when he says he'd push mentally disabled people off a fucking mountain.
People invite me to their lives because they want me to start a fight. They want me to come in their live and drop a fucking bomb and just piss everyone.
Okay, so that's what it was. So someone invited him to his live and he knew that they wanted him to start a fight. This is still part of his apology for the mentally disabled people.
Off. And I'm happy to do that. I very much enjoy doing that on TikTok because in the real world, I don't really give a fuck about much. If it doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect my fiance, it doesn't affect my family, the people I closely care about, I generally don't give a shit. I genuinely don't give a shit. Like I saw so many people talk about his career is over. This is not my career. This is an outlet that I do for fun. This is not what I do for a living. But let me just say that if you hate the character I am on TikTok, thank you. That was the fucking point. The character I am on TikTok is meant to piss off as many people as fucking possible while putting good information out. If this were my career, I wouldn't have been drinking on lives and shooting the shit with my friends and cussing all the time. No, I am intentionally trying to piss everyone off. And here's the thing, if you don't like that, more power to you. I don't blame you. But please,
that's a good excuse for saying it's just a character, guys. People only call me in their lives to say something crazy. That's why I said, you know, mentally disabled people should be pushed off a mountain.
Everyone debate with everyone, yell at everyone. I wouldn't be on this platform because I'm not.
No wonder people weren't satisfied with his apology.
To grow as a career, become a content creator full time. No, I'm here because I don't fucking argue with anyone in real life. I don't debate with anyone about politics or any of that shit. That is specifically for TikTok. So be mad at me. That's perfectly fine. I said some offensive shit. I shouldn't have said that. That's on me. But please do not ever think that I'm trying to be nice. You're missing the point of my whole account. So let me just say that ever since I started on TikTok,
makes sense.
The judge in the Trump case just gave the weirdest instructions to the jury. He said that in order to find him guilty, you'd have to unanimously find him guilty, which makes sense. We've seen that in pretty much every court case we've ever seen. But he also said that they don't have to unanimously agree on what the underlying crime was.
We've went over this. This makes perfect sense. Okay? So he's guilty of this crime, and to be guilty of this crime, he has to be attached to one of these three things. The two of you can think this one, four of you can think this one, and the rest of you think this one, but it doesn't matter. He's still guilty of this crime.
Which is mildly fucking insane. You are telling them to find him guilty or innocent of a crime, but you're not making them agree on what even crime was committed? Like Trump is only on trial for these
underlying crimes
because the prosecutor said it was connected to an additional felony. But the prosecution has never said what that additional felony was. They've never proven that there was any additional felony. And
one of the three.
The prosecution to fucking... Let me quickly explain to the liberals why I don't give a fuck about the videos you're making about me. And I'm going to Rick and Morty.
Here we go.
I am not affected.
More. Here we go. More apology. This is probably his first apology he made. Same day.
Let me quickly explain to the liberals why I don't give a fuck about the videos you're making about me. And I'm going to quote Rick and Morty here. I am not affected by your booze because I've seen what makes you cheer. For me to take your criticism to heart, I'd first have to value your opinion. And the funny thing is, you guys are trying to attack me from like a moral standpoint, as if you hold any moral high ground whatsoever. The vast majority of you are pro-choice. You are pro-abortion. You are pro-murdering babies just because you don't want them. You have no moral high ground. I think stupid people should walk off a cliff.
I bet you... he seems like, he just said he's got a fiance and look how fucking old he is. There's probably a greater than 80% chance he's paid for an abortion before.
Certainly not as bad of a position as murdering babies because it'll fuck with your vacation schedule, or murdering babies because you don't like what it's going to do to your...
There's the vacation schedule. There's the, I got to be fit in my bikini this summer.
Body. No, you're
You know, you guys know that's the two most common causes for abortion, right? Is I've got a vacation coming up, and what will I look like in a bikini this summer? It's not like a gut-wrenching decision where you're like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if we make enough. I don't want to bring a baby into the world where I can't afford to pay for them or do for them or have them. I've just got too much stuff going on. I don't think I'd be a good parent. I can't believe that we got in this mess and we try to take the appropriate steps and we're still in this over our fucking heads. It's, hey, you like my body this way? It's not going to be like this afterwards. Plus, aren't we going to the Poconos?
Beliefs are fucking horrible. You have no morals. You support some of the worst things that have ever been created on this earth. You support Planned Parenthood, an organization founded by Margaret Sanger, who was an avowed eugenicist and a rampant racist. You support a party in this country that has the history of racism in our nation. And please know that I do not give a fuck what you think of me. Because like I said before, to feel anything about your criticism...
I got that from The Office.
first have to value your opinion. I'd first have to think that you're a good person. I'd first have to think that you have some kind of moral fucking high ground. And to the conservatives that are mad at me, I've told you this many times over and over and over again. I am not a conservative. Sure, I have some conservative beliefs when it comes to fiscal policy.
He's a Trump worshipping cocksucker. That's what he is.
Border security, but that's a practical argument. No, most of my leanings are pretty fucking liberal. Not liberal to the point of batshit crazy leftist, but outside of fiscal policy, I'm pretty much liberal on everything. And I haven't hidden this from anyone. I've said it over and over and over again. So you can be mad at me. And look, there's a few people on this platform who, if they're mad at me.
So these are his genuine beliefs, and he's not playing a character until tomorrow when he's playing a character.
I take that to heart because I value their thought process and I value their opinion. But please know that the opinion of people like Harry or Dean or Parker will never bother me because I don't value them as people. I certainly don't value their awful opinions. So if you want to be mad at me, be mad at me. But if you want me to care, be somebody I respect first. Oh, and for all you haters, keep jumping in my comments and giving me that algorithm boost. Let me quickly explain to the liberals why I don't give a fuck.
So I really want to thank Anthony for having a live about me so that I could actually explain myself. And the best part was...
Here we go. More apologies, guys.
Creators like Harry and Parker and Dean joined trying to make me look bad. And holy shit, did they fail miserably. They joined and like played all these clips and I had an explanation for all of it. Like I had something to say that refuted everything they played instantly. And they were fucking really pissed about it. But for those of you who weren't on that live, let me explain.
Here's his comments. You said it. You said what you said, brud. Wow, the spin is real. Glad you came out with this video. They will run with it. Hope it doesn't ruin what you have built. I really enjoy your content. Still have my support. Dude, you said it. The spin is here. You said it, brother. St. Louis, bro. Talking about the St. Louis thing he was incorrect about. St. Louis, you said it. And good job, Harry. You said it. No problem here. Always enjoy your clips. Is this going to be about the St. Louis thing?
Myself to you. So I refer to the mentally disabled. Now, according to them, mentally disabled is what's in the DSM, which I quietly reminded them that if we follow the DSM completely, that includes gender dysphoria. So they weren't really willing to follow the DSM on that one. But they said that everything I was talking about referred to the DSM. But that's not how it works. See, in an earlier live, I was talking to a vegan, and that vegan joined the live. And he talked about how I called vegans mentally disabled. Now, do I think vegans are born with some problem with their brain? No, of course not. I just think they're wrong. But I called them...
Oh, so he was really talking about vegans when he said, I'm okay with pushing mentally disabled people off a mountain.
Because fucking meat is delicious. Right? That was the term I used, was mentally disabled. And then later in the live, when I referred to people who are willfully ignorant and mentally disabled, I was talking about people like Harry, Parker, and Dean. Because people get really upset when you use that term because they think you're referring to people with Down syndrome or autism. But let me tell you, I don't think people with Down syndrome have a mental disability. See, they don't have a problem with learning. They just learn.
So he doesn't think the actual people with mental disabilities are people with mental disabilities. That makes sense now. I get it.
Differently. Like, I know plenty of people with Down syndrome who own their own businesses, are massively successful. Fuck, they make more money than I do. And when it comes to autism, like, I think people like Aristotle and Einstein and Oppenheimer, every one of them was on the spectrum, and that's a wonderful thing. Like, you don't have genius, you don't have brilliance without autism. I think autism should be classified as a fucking superpower. But no, they wanted to tell me what I meant by that was I was insulting people with Down syndrome. I was insulting people with autism, which couldn't be farther from the truth. No, when I classified mental illness, mental dysfunction, that's Harry, Dean, and Parker. That's people who recognize the reality of the world.
He only meant liberals. He didn't mean people with mental disabilities, which is what he said. He meant liberals.
Accused to know what's actually.
But in the next video,
create a reality in their own mind.
In the very next video, he's going to tell you he's super liberal, except when it comes to fiscal policy. And then he's going to tell you he was a character.
None of that is happening. That's how Harry is able to make videos saying the economy is good. That's how Parker is able to debate every night and just ignore facts. That's how Dean is. I don't know Dean, but from what I can see of him.
Someone said, I couldn't believe it. I was in St. Louis when you said it. Thought I was in the Bronx.
He's right there with Harry and Parker. But no, when I say mentally disabled, I mean those type of people. Because if you got
liberals,
you can do everything anyone else can do. And if you got autism, chances are you're smarter than me. Because everyone I've ever met with autism is fucking brilliant. Now, they may have things that restrict them in life, but man, are they fucking smart. But I really appreciate the fact that somebody got a live to talk shit about me. They let me join their live and explain myself. And I really appreciate the fact that Dean, Harry, and Parker showed up. Because it wouldn't have been worth it if I didn't get the shit all over everything they think like I normally do in my videos. So if you have a problem with me...
Man, you really trolled them by saying you'd push mentally disabled people off a mountain.
That's fine. If you have a problem with me using the word mentally disabled in the way it's not supposed to be used, that's fine too. But please know that when I refer to mentally disabled, I do not mean autistic people. I do not mean people with Down syndrome. I don't mean any of that. I mean people like Parker,
liberals,
and Dean. And I will never change my fucking mind about that. I will always use that term for them because the only other term I could use is fucking liars. So I really want to thank Anthony for having a live about me.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense, dude.
Never let
here we go.
Taken out of context go to waste.
So you're about to see a ton of videos about me. I mean, you're going to see them here on TikTok. You're going to see them on X. You're probably going to see them on Facebook, where people are going to show me.
Now it's out of context. And it's a character, and he meant liberals, not mentally disabled, which is what he said. And he's a liberal, but only when he's not on TikTok.
Throw disabled people off a mountain, and you're not going to get any context. You're not going to see that conversation was about abortion. Now, just to be clear, I'm pro-choice. I've stated this many times. It's not a surprise. If you think I'm pro-life, unfollow me. I'm pro-choice. However, I also believe that the first time...
Dude, He can't have, like the last 4 videos, each video he said the exact opposite. Now he's pro-choice because he wants to look good in his bikini when he has vacation next week.
Have an elective abortion, which let me be clear, here's what I mean by elective. Meaning that your child is not the product of incest or rape, that you should be able to have an abortion, but after you have that abortion, you should be sterilized. Now, if that opinion makes you want to unfollow me, perfectly fine. I totally understand that. That's my opinion. And if you disagree, unfollow me. If you have a problem with the fact that I think that...
Yeah. It's a lot of times it's a more major medical procedure than fucking birth control. I don't see people using that as birth control. Now, I do see people that go on a rant against other people who want, like, fucking stop no abortion share being allowed. They're like, fuck you, I'm going to get 2 abortions this year. I think that's it. That's hyperbole, right? That's the reason they're saying it.
People who have elective abortions, treating abortions like birth control, then you shouldn't follow me. Like, I'm not the person who's going to speak on your behalf. But that's not what happened with a recent clip. See, we were having a discussion about abortion, and I made the suggestion that if you're going to allow abortion up until the point of birth, then you should also allow people to abort children who they think are going to have disabilities. Because if you're just going to say, I get to kill a kid just because I want to, then you should be able to kill a kid because you say, this one's going to be disabled. Now, here's what you're going to see in the clips. You're going to see me talk about having a Spartan thought process, throw them off a cliff. Yeah, that was within the context of the conversation we were having, where I was like, sure, yeah, I mean, I'll be a Spartan thought process. If you got a disabled kid, hurl them off a cliff. Find the nearest mountain and dump them off.
He's in panic mode, dude. He thought this was going to end his career. It should have. It should have ended everything he has on TikTok.
Kobe when you're doing it, but that would be removing all the context. That would be acting like we were just talking about just murdering disabled people. That would be acting like I said, every disabled people on earth needs to die.
Wait a second. You weren't talking about disabled people. You were talking about liberals who are getting ready to do a live stream about you. You weren't even talking about. So now you're saying, wait a second.
Have elective abortions, treating abortions like birth control, then you shouldn't follow me. Like, I'm not the person who's going to speak on your behalf. But that's not what happened with the recent clip. See, we were having a discussion about abortion, and I made the suggestion that if you're going to allow abortion up until the point of birth, then you should also allow people to abort children who they think are going to have disabilities. Because if you're just going to say...
See? So if you're going to allow abortion up to birth, then you should also allow abortion about people who have mental disabilities. But in the very next video, he didn't even delete this one. In the very next video, he's like, I wasn't talking about what you guys think are mental disabilities. I was talking about liberals and vegans. Dude, there is no way.
Say I get to kill a kid just because I want to, then you should be able to kill a kid because you say this one's going to be disabled. Now, here's what you're going to see in the clips. You're going to see me talk about having a Spartan thought process, throw them off a cliff. Yeah, that was within the context of the conversation we were having, where I was like, sure, yeah, I mean, I'll be a Spartan thought process. If you got a disabled kid, hurl them off a cliff. Find the nearest mountain and dump them off. Just yell Kobe when you're doing it. But that would be removing all the context. That would be acting like we were just talking about just murdering disabled people. That would be acting like I said, every disabled people on earth needs to die. That wasn't the conversation.
But you weren't even talking about disabled people. You were talking about the liberals who do live streams against you.
Conversation was that if you're going to allow people to murder children up until the point of birth, well, then pretty much nothing is off limits because they would be murdering them just because they don't want them. So why not let them murder them because they might be fucked up? But let's be real about this for a second. Without disabled people, like without people on, let's say, the spectrum, you wouldn't have Aristotle, you wouldn't have Einstein, you wouldn't have Oppenheimer, you wouldn't have some of the most brilliant minds that have ever existed in humanity. Like, I firmly believe that without the spectrum, we're still starting fires in caves. So obviously, I don't have a problem with disabled people. But the clips aren't going to show you any of that. They are going to be perfectly set up to make it look like I was just saying, oh, kids with disabilities, throw them off a cliff. Yeah, that's not the reality. So here's the thing. If you...
Okay, that's not even it.
Fine, fuck all the way.
That's not even the reality.
Enjoy your life without context. Enjoy the fact that you get a chance to hate me. Enjoy the fact that you're getting this information recorded by Parker, who hates me, Harry, who blocked me and sent me a cease and desist, and then Chris Mowry, who does whatever the fuck Harry tells him to do. All 3 paid by the DNC to discredit Trump. But if you've seen my content, you know I speak my mind. I say what the fuck I want to say, and sometimes I make terrible analogies. But at no point am I just like, yeah, throw all the disabled people off a cliff. No, it was within the context of the conversation we were having. The context that you're never going to see. And I'm sure you're going to see videos of Harry Sisson discussing this very important topic because Harry Sisson is so pro-life and cares about the children. Oh wait, no, he's also pro-choice. He's also pro-abortion. He also supports Biden making abortion a national mandate. So here's what you do. You can either believe everything out of context, or you can believe the pro-choice people who want to hate on pro-life, even though I'm not pro-life, because they think they found some way just to get me. That's perfectly fine. As far as I'm concerned, you can fuck all the way off, because I'll never apologize for what I think. I'll never apologize for how I make my words. And if you want to make completely out of context, this is not an easy one. I'm
dying to see the full clip.
But this is what they'll talk about on X for the next, I don't know, probably 48 hours. This is what they'll talk about on TikTok because Harry and Chris have no real content. They'll probably talk about this for...
I bet you it's on Twitter. We'll find it some other time.
I said what I said in the context of a different conversation. And if you don't like that, fuck off. So liberals will never let shit...
What an apology, boys. What an apology. Thank you very much for that. If you don't like it, fuck off. I fucking hate this dude. We should make it a mission to destroy this guy online. I wish I had a bigger audience, that it was feasible. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. The older millennial is a piece of shit. Everything he says is a lie. He's got to be some type of fucking... Either he just knows this is how to build his account and he's lying when he says he doesn't want an account, like he just does this for fun or whatever, or he's some type of paid operative. He has to be. He literally has to be. You can't be this wrong this many times when you could just do a simple search on the platform you're posting on and find thousands of the videos you claiming don't exist. Shit like that. Either way, thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I guess it's Sunday now, right? I might try to come in earlier and have a longer stream tomorrow. Because I probably won't be around the campground. Most people aren't checking out till Monday, and it's pretty packed. But either way, thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Support the show while we're offline. Please consider making a contribution. That's how we pay to keep the show going. That's how I pay the rent, electricity, internet, all the shit that has to do with the office. That's how we keep it going. So if you can help out, that'd be great. If you can't, I hope to see you at the show. Share, like, whatever you can do. And we'll see you about the next one. Have a good night. And we'll see you guys. Love you. See you. Bye. I got a big backlog of cop videos. I know we haven't watched one in a while, but I got a big backlog of them. We might do a show and watch some cop content here soon. See you guys.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this
I'll check him out.
show, you don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6 cents for the stupid shit.
Where my true believers?
Y'all need Jesus.
Praise the Lord, head to the extreme.
All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like Thor in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, beating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? I'll get my files. What are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously.
Good night, guys. See y'all tomorrow.
Oh, give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the